Like to bring this. Hello, everyone. We'd like to bring this meeting to order. If you could have a seat, please. Testing, test. Okay, perfect. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Ko'olauloa Neighborhood Board. I'm Chairman Atonga, bringing this meeting to order. Just a couple of housekeeping rules that I want to go over for everyone. Today's meeting materials are found in our Google Drive, which is online for our community, our neighborhood board. So if you guys want any of the presentations, anything that's been put out here, that'll be in our Google Drive. Also, the recordings of this board meeting can be found on YouTube, and we can put that link in the chat. For rules of speaking, to ensure the maximum opportunity for all attendees to be heard, the following guidelines will apply. Those joining the meeting are reminded to mute their microphones during the meeting online. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to type their question into the chat box or raise their hand using the raise hand function in the online meeting platform, which is indicated by a hand, or unmute yourself at the appropriate time as indicated by the chair. And if accessing the meeting using your phone and you have a comment, indicate this by pressing the symbol *9. This will show the moderator that the person calling from that number wishes to speak. To mute or unmute your phone, push *6. Please wait until recognized by the chair to begin. All comments, concerns, or questions shall be 2 minutes or less. Looks like we have a packed house due to the size of public members here in attendance today. Would the board like to entertain a motion to drop the comments, concerns, and question time to 1 minute? I'll leave that up to the board. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? I have a second. Okay, we have 2 seconds. Thank you. Are there any reservations? Any objections? All right, hearing and seeing none, chair votes aye. This will be for the members of the public. You will have 1 minute to ask your question or comment after the presenter is done. Please kokua. To help all attendees have the opportunity to hear presentations or comments, please place all of your devices on mute until you would like to speak, and unmute yourself when you're recognized by the chair. To foster an environment of inclusion for everyone's opinion, we ask that you please refrain from clapping or cheering. Also, for those, okay, skip that part. Please note, the board may take action on any agenda item as required by Sunshine Law, HRS 92. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to that agenda. A 2/3 vote, 6 of this 11-member board is needed to add an item to the agenda. Items may not be added if they are of major importance and will affect a significant number of people. With that said, we will begin with our monthly reports from the Honolulu Fire Department. Are they present here in the room or online? HFD, are you present online? If so, please proceed with your report. And I don't see them. Okay, moving on, we will move over to HPD. HPD is online. Please unmute yourself and proceed with your report.
Good evening, I'm Lieutenant Sanford Yu. I'll present the stats to you for January. January, there were no motor vehicle thefts compared to 1 the previous month. Burglaries, there were 2 compared to 3 the previous month. Regular thefts were 7 compared to 4 the previous month. There were 5 motor vehicle break-ins compared to 0 the previous month, and no robberies. I'm willing to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions by members of the board? Okay, any questions from members of the public? Any questions from members of the public online? Hearing and seeing none, thank you very much for your report.
Good night.
We'll see you next month. Okay, moving on, United States Army. No, I do not see them, so we will move on in our agenda. We move on to government reports, 3 minutes per time limit for Rare Rick Blangiardi. Kat, you're online, please proceed with your report. Okay, I do not see Kat online. I'm sorry. Okay, we do have a presentation by Anton Krucky. Anton, sorry, I didn't see. Go right ahead with your presentation. You have.
Is this on? Great. So thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. My name's Anton Krucky. I'm the Director of the Department of Community Services for the City and County of Honolulu. So we do all of the human services activities for the city. So we have divisions that do job training, elderly affairs, all of the HUD stuff, Section 8 vouchers, public housing, all of that reports into our department. One of the things we focus on are affordable housing to homelessness. And so we've really embarked with the partnership that the mayor and the governor have on homelessness. We've really parked on an aggressive thing to be able to build many beds. And I call what we need are beds of many flavors. Housing people alone isn't the answer. We have a lot of people that need medical care. They need different type things, and that's what we try to do. So in the last 12-month time frame, we've activated over 600 new beds on this island. And what I want to talk to you tonight about is one being activated in your community, get your feedback on that from the people that actually running the program. The state has been very active in building kauhales, right? You see that on the news and everything. Kauhales are really for single individuals because they have congregate bathrooms, and you can't have a child like leaving a building and walking out to the bathroom in the middle of the night by themselves, right? So at the same time that that's going on, the city's activating family shelters, right? And so we activated one at Waikiki Vista, which is run by Catholic Charities. We activated one in Waipahu that's run by Family Promise. And we're getting ready to activate one here in your community up on Homestead Road on the city property. So what we try to do, this partnership between the mayor and the governor, is we try to take city facilities and then we partner with the state to help us run them. And that's what we did. And so what I'd like to do tonight is have you see what's going on, right? And also get your feedback on that. And then that will help us develop a real partnership so that we can activate this in the community. So I'd like Harold to come up, Rakeem, who is with the state program office, who we awarded this property to. Harold?
Thank you so much, Anton. Hi, everyone. My name is Harold Brackeen. I work at the Department of Human Services Homeless Programs Office. I am the program administrator for our homeless programs statewide in the state of Hawaii. And so we have an opportunity, like Anton mentioned, to work with the city, and we partnered with them, and we received a lease agreement from the city to work right here in Hauula on Homestead Road. And so I think many people are familiar with that property. It's been vacant for a number of years. And so what we're doing is we're investing to bring that property online. And we did a procurement. We had competitive procurement. And in that process, we selected Corazon Hawaii. Actually, that's the next person. Sonia Davalos. Yes. Yep, no worries. You can leave them right there. So this is our provider here, Corazon Hawaii. And so I'm gonna ask her to come up and say a few words and stuff about the services that she's gonna offer to the community. But this is very exciting. We're gonna be bringing a lot of things to the community. And so instead of you folks needing to go to Honolulu or Kaneohe or anywhere else, we can bring them right here to your backyard. So it's about time. It's long overdue, and this is a great opportunity for us, and we're excited. So thank you guys so much. Sonia?
Yeah, hi, good evening. My name is Sonia Davalos, and I'm the Executive Director of Corazon Hawaii. And I'm here to talk to you about the Family Assessment Center that we're gonna open hopefully in May, sometime in May, where we're gonna be serving families. We're gonna be providing them shelter, rapid rehousing, retention specialist. So we're gonna be working with the families, helping them house them. Yeah, you can go. You can go. Our services are the Family Assessment Center, housing navigation, housing retention, and rapid rehousing and homeless prevention. We provide immediate temporary housing. So if there's a family that is houseless, we'll bring them in and house them for up to 3 months. The goal here is to help them find housing within those 3 months. After we house them, we're going to be providing rapid rehousing where we're going to be helping with the rent for a year. And with that housing, we're gonna provide housing retention. We're housing retention, we're gonna make sure that the family stays housed. We're gonna connect them to any resources that they might need. That's from mental health to substance to help them find a job so they can sustain their rent after the program is over. But I'm here to help, to ask for your help, because this is people helping people. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this without your help. Okay? Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Perfect. We'll start with board members. Board members, any questions? Auntie Kela, go ahead. Please use the mic.
Sorry, Auntie Kella Miller. I just wanted to say congratulations. We needed it here. I know before they tried to have something in this community, but I just wondered if the community at that time didn't want something, because it was for something else that they were going to do. So congratulations to you guys for bringing it here. And you're right, going all the way into Honolulu was just so far away, and we need it here. I hope it's covering the whole Ko'olaulo area. And so congratulations. Just wanted to say that because we really need the help.
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members?
Hi, Rebecca Carlson. Will you be looking for volunteers or employees to help with this?
Yes, we'll be looking for volunteers. Actually have another position open, which is for a retention specialist. I can leave my email address, or you can go to my website, so you can forward me any resumes of anybody that might be interested.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
The goal
email.
is to hire people within the community as well.
Right, right. Thank you.
Okay, other questions? from
This-
Board member?
Is it? It's a button. It doesn't sound like, oh, it is. Okay, thank you. I'm Dottie Kelly Paddock. I just have a comment. I want to really cheer on this effort because we're excited to have Corazon here. Pu'io Ha'ula is the small nonprofit that manages this facility. And we have 31 partners working with us here, nonprofits and other agencies. And this is one of our newest nonprofits, and we're so happy to have them because this is a big, big need in our community. So we just want to say, always let us know how we can help, and we're so happy to have you as a partner.
Thank you, Dottie.
Okay, other questions from board members? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll go to questions from the, Dr. Tusi, then we'll go to the committee.
Yes, very thrilled with this opportunity, but as a former farmer, merely transplanting something isn't good enough. There needs to be nourishment by the farmer. And so there needs to also be a sense of responsibility to those who come here to take advantage of the services and of the cultural activities and of the community activities so they can weave in to the fabric of the community as part of it, not merely a transplant.
Thank you. Any other from the board, questions from board members? All right, seeing none, we'll go to questions of the community in person. If you have your hand up, please come to the table if you could stand. Or comments or questions, just state your name as well, and then please
Evelyn
proceed.
Lane. I'm just wondering how many rooms or units or people can be served in a 3-month period?
So we'll be serving 5 families at a time. 5 families. And if there's any single moms with kids, we can do shared housing in one of the units.
Okay, other questions from members of the community here in person? I saw a hand up in the back.
We're gonna start with the families that are in Hauula. So to my understanding, there is families waiting for the assessment to be ready. So those will be the families that we'll start with. And we do have an assessment that we'll be completing. It's housing first. So if they're homeless, they'll qualify.
We have a series of family shelters in town And so we're gonna try to work with those folks in town. I really appreciate your comment about people. That's part of the journey, is to have them start to take responsibility for themselves and kind of get past the things that got them in the situation they were in. Thank you.
Okay, other questions from members of the community in person? Okay. Yeah, we'll go online. Okay, we'll go to the members of the community online. We'll start in the chat box. The question is, how will this project help the chronic houseless in our community, those on the beach, in bushes, in mountains?
How, well,
How
there,
will this project help the chronic houseless in your community, those on the beach, bushes, and mountains?
by bringing them to the family assessment center. If there's families that are staying on the beach, we'll bring them over, house them, help them find housing, help them find a job they're interested, so they can sustain their rent after the program is over.
To that question, this program is really set up for families. It's not for individuals. And I think hinted in that question were individuals, but let's get this one started. And I'm very open to expanding and bringing more services out here. I'm hoping the city is like giving me now to run this building as well. And so I'm going to be asking you for what your repair asks are. And we're going to try to, on a regular basis, bring city activities out here after we get some feedback on what activities you want brought out here. So we'll get this one started and we'll expand from there.
Perfect. Okay, we'll go to online. Catherine Heath, I see your hand up. That was the question I asked for you. Is there another question you'd like to ask?
There is another question I wrote
Please
down.
proceed.
They're speaking of permanent affordable rentals for these individuals after they've spent some time there. Where do you anticipate these will be located, given that there really aren't any in our community, as so many places have become vacation rentals, and new development, which is sanctioned by our mayor, are building $5 million homes that are not affordable. And we also know that our local people want to stay locally. It's the same thing with the houseless in the bushes. They don't want to go to town. They want to be here. And so it's great you have something here temporarily, but permanently, where are you going to generate these homes? Where are they going to be? Are you going to make PATs, stop having vacation rentals so that you have places to rent? I mean, where?
We're working on reaching out to landlords and getting a landlord portfolio that they could work with us.
Good luck.
you.
It's not very profitable, I don't think. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Okay, Kate, thank you very much. Casey Connors, I see your hand up. Please proceed with your question.
Yeah, thank you, Anton and Sonia. Before COVID, I was the co-chair of the Windward Homeless Alliance. We have a lot of concerns about the homeless count, that it says only 45 from Kahaluu to Turtle Bay. But also, again, when the community used to count and help count, we've had 80 to 85% homeless are Hawaiian. And again, what Catherine said, that people want to stay here in their homes, and culturally, it's so important to be with the land. We heard last month, I had talked to HHHRC, and they said that they had no more vouchers left. And the big problem is that our people didn't rank high enough. So a lot of times we would put, if there were people that were given vouchers, from town, they would be and they would be put in Hano Hano, and our people didn't often rank high enough to get those.
Hey, Casey, wrap up your question, please.
So how can we make sure that the people from this area stay in this area? And what specific things do you have for Hawaiians? And you go all up and down our area.
Thank you,
not just
Casey.
Kaula. So how can you ensure
Casey.
that you have the outreach there? Thank you.
The only thing that I can tell you at the moment, we're working on reaching out to landlords, and we're creating our portfolio where we have it set up where we can reach out to the landlords in each city. And of course, if the families are trying to stay in Hauula or wherever their town is, we're gonna start by their town.
As a part Hawaiian myself, I really feel for that particular subject matter. We're not claiming that this solves all the problems. It's just an effort in this particular area with specialties that can help. And then we'll continue to work and expand those efforts as best we can. But we're not up here trying to tell you that all things go away with this. There are issues, right? Let you understand.
Hang on just a second, Uncle. I'm just gonna check if there's any other members of the public online before we come back to members of the public in person. Okay, I don't see anything. Uncle, please proceed with your question. You have 1 minute.
My name is Elgin Onaga. I see all this empty ag land that is being mismanaged and not used. Can we somehow get the homeless to start micro farms with their own business? That's their business and they make all the money off of that micro farm and that's theirs.
If any of the owners of that land have ideas like that, have them contact me and we'll talk to them.
What about the state? They own all that land.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. If it's state land, then it's state land. But you know, land in itself is not easy to have people be housed on and stuff. Farming it's a good idea. There's infrastructure issues. There's a lot of things, but we work on them. Like I said, we brought up over 500, 600 beds in the last year that we used. Does it solve the problem? No, right? But it addresses it.
Okay, any other questions from members of the public in person? Last call, members of the board, members online. All right, here it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I see Kat, Kat, you're on for the mayor. Could you please proceed with your report?
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Okay, there we go. Good evening, everybody. I'll read the mayor's updates and then Pani, I have a bunch of feedback from DPP related to Turtle Bay. Do you want me to read through all of it or shall I drop the written responses in the chat? It will take me over 3 minutes, so defer to you.
Board member? Yes, please proceed. Please read the answers to the questions in regards to.
Okay.
Turtle Bay.
Okay, I will read as quickly as possible, and then I will put everything into the chat just so that you have a record of it as well. Okay, so first, this month's highlights from Mayor's newsletters. First, hundreds attend a memorial service in Kaka'ako to honor Jeff Fiala, a Honolulu firefighter killed in the line of duty. Second, Mayor Blangiardi and members of the mayor's cabinet were sworn into office, beginning a new 4-year term. Third, a new 90-unit Bill 7 affordable housing development broke ground in Makiki. Fourth, repairs began on the seawall and walkway at Queen Surf in Waikiki near the Barefoot Beach Cafe. And fifth, the city unveils a new Opala truck for the Leeward Oahu Parks and Beach Parks. The February 2025 edition of the mayor's newsletter can be found online, and I will drop a link to the chat. Updates from the Neighborhood Commission. Registration for the 2025 Neighborhood Board elections are open now. Registration for the 2025 to 2027 board elections are now open. Candidates can register online at the Neighborhood Commission's office's website, and I'll drop a link to that in the chat. Voter registration is available via paper form, also at online, and then questions can be directed to the NCO at 808-768-3710 or nco@honolulu.gov. There are several important dates, candidate requirements, and information on who can vote. And so I'll drop all of that in the chat so that you all have it. I will read the non-DPP updates first, and then I'll move to the Turtle Bay updates. Let's see. There was a question if housing tax is being overvalued due to the number of short-term rentals and hotels in the Ko'olauloa area. BFS responds. The Department of Budget and Fiscal Services responds. Real property assessments are calculated in compliance with the revised ordinances of Honolulu using appropriate systematic methods suitable for mass valuation of real property for ad valorem taxation purposes to obtain, as far as possible, uniform and equalized assessments. Sorry, I lost that. Uniform and equalized assessments throughout the city and have no direct relation to short-term rentals or hotels in the Ko'olauloa area. The next question was about there was the concern about homeless and illegal dumping on a lot with commercial trash, pigs, dogs on the land next to the Ho'olukai Shopping Center at 54316 Camp Highway. What is the status? BFS reports that the property next to Ho'olukai Shopping Center, owned by Hopoate Taufa is now current on their real property taxes. The taxes for the second period of 2024-2025 remains outstanding. There is no judicial foreclosure action involving the Treasury Division, and at the present time, property does not have a lien. And the last non-DPP update. There was a question about how big can a close-end tsunami be? How much heads up is required to evacuate, and what is the Department of Emergency Management doing to notify the short-term renters about the tsunami evacuation zones? DEM, the Department of Emergency Management, reports. A locally generated tsunami means that the tsunami was generated from a source within the state of Hawaii. The most likely source of a locally generated tsunami is an earthquake on the Big Island. A locally generated tsunami can reach Oahu within 20 to 45 minutes, depending upon the location of the earthquake. If a local tsunami warning is triggered by the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, alerts will be broadcast to TV and radio through the emergency alert system and via wireless emergency alert to all cell phones, telling people to evacuate immediately. That message will include the estimated wave arrival time. For other types of emergencies, counties are responsible for sending additional alerts with local instructions and for sounding sirens on their islands. Because there's such little warning in the event of a local tsunami, all counties have agreed that the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency 24/7 warning point will immediately sound sirens and issue a localized wireless emergency alert message on their behalf with additional information when there is a local tsunami warning. The message for Oahu we have developed includes instructions on evacuating vertically or the 4th floor or higher in buildings 10 stories or more, and a link to the local evacuation map. The evacuation area for a local tsunami would be from a standard tsunami evacuation zone, the yellow on the map at honolulu.gov/tsunami-evac. And wireless emergency alerts sent for a local tsunami will go to all cell phones on Oahu, which includes anyone visiting the island, such as short-term renters. Again, there would be an emergency alert system message that is broadcast on radio and television, and the outdoor warning system sirens would sound. DEM has also installed signs along major roadways and in coastal parks alerting residents and visitors to the tsunami hazard. Signs in beach parks provide a link to the tsunami evacuation maps. Due to the short lead time for a local tsunami, we also encourage everyone to know the natural warning signs of a tsunami. Strange behavior of ocean water, strong shaking, and or a loud roar coming from the ocean, as these may be your first warning that a tsunami is coming. If you ever notice these natural waving signs, you should evacuate immediately, even if official alert and warning systems have not been activated. Okay, let me move now to DPPs. Okay. First, a resident asked what safeguards DPP is putting in place to establish public trust in their operations. The response: by addressing the core problems of the department, we have reduced the opportunity to exploit the system. The development and implementation of standard operating measures and operating procedures and staff training, which have been sorely lacking, provides the necessary structure and guardrails to ensure that staff are properly performing their duties. By reducing the backlog through automation, technology, streamlined processes, and building necessary capacity to perform plan review, we eliminate the market for improper alternative methods of getting permits. We continue to investigate alleged misconduct and issue disciplinary actions if necessary. We report to DCCA any misconduct by design professionals and contractors, and we have developed checks and balances and internal audits to ensure that processes are correctly followed, and we are modernizing our permitting software to better enable us to quickly analyze data and records. We are also hiring and promoting the right people to manage, supervise, and lead their staff to always do the right thing, and to ensure that supervisors are proactively monitoring for any suspicious behavior. Okay, grading and grubbing. Okay, so a resident asked when granting permits for grading and grubbing, are the permits reviews consulted with the DLNR State of Historic Preservation Division? DPP responds, applicants are directed to the DLNR, SHPD, State Historic Preservation Division, when the proposed work is located on properties that are flagged for referring to SHPD. Okay, the next question, what determines a certified shoreline? With climate change, the certified shorelines have not stayed the same since 1986. DPP responds, shorelines are certified through the state DLNR Land Division and are subject to approval by the BLNR, the Board of Land and Natural Resources. Shoreline certifications are considered current for 1 year, after which an updated survey is required for most properties on which development is proposed. There are some exceptions and alternatives under the revised ordinances of Honolulu Chapter 26, and I can drop a link to that in the chat. The next question, If an EIS could be required for the Turtle Bay development, are there any circumstances that would require an EIS? DPP responds. The Turtle Bay Resort's Special Management Area, SMA, major permit was approved by the City Council under resolution number 86-308 on October 1, 1986. The SMA permit approved a master plan project over the entire resort properties that was significantly greater in intensity and density than what is currently proposed. The current proposal includes the development of the RR3 site. Additionally, a supplemental environmental impact statement was approved on October 13, 2013, and identified proposed sites RR3A and RR3B as resort residential use. Potential environmental impacts were considered under the final SEIS, and the department found that the project, A, is a component of or is substantially similar to the action proposed in the final SEIS. B, is anticipated to have direct, indirect, and cumulative effects similar to those analyzed within the range of alternatives in the final SEIS, and 3, was analyzed within the range of alternatives in the final SEIS. In 2022, the department acknowledged that the project is of a lower density and intensity than was assessed in the final SEIS and permitted in the SMA permit. Based on our findings, the project does not require an additional EIS and can proceed to building permits. Okay, the next question was, how can the public submit photographic evidence to DPP regarding illegal clearing of vegetation and grading along the shoreline? DPP reports that residents can submit concerns to the DPP online at, and there's a link under the civil engineering category, so I'll drop that into the chat. Okay, the community wants to know more about the unilateral agreement, including, is the UA still a legally binding and enforceable document? B, what is the DPP's role in the UA? C, what is the community's role in the UA? And is there a specific group that represents the community? And 4, how can the city reopen the UA for the renegotiations? Okay, DPP's answers are, yes, the UA is still legally binding and enforceable. What is the DPP's role? It's administration and enforcement. They review plans for UA compliance and enforcement if needed. 3, what is the community's role? The community was able to provide input via various community organizations or as individuals throughout the review process, including at the Planning Commission and City Council prior to establishment of the UA conditions. There is no specific group that represents the community. 4th, how can the city reopen the UA for renegotiations? Any change in the UA will have to go through a zone change process and be approved by the City Council. Okay, next, is the development of Turtle Bay by Arete in the Ko'olauloa Sustainable Communities Plan? The answer, yes. Chapter 3.8 of the Ko'olauloa Sustainable Communities Plan covers Turtle Bay Resort. Okay, next, has Arete or host broken or circumvented any planning or permitting laws under the purview of DPP? DPP responds, no. The construction plans and building permit plans are being reviewed in compliance with building, coastal, and zoning codes and regulations, as well as the unilateral agreement, the special management and shoreline setback variance permit conditions. Next, if the Turtle Bay development and the Hawaii Reserves Inc. Projects have their vertical permits. Research revealed by the DPP Building Division that as of February 10, 2025, the building permits for the resort residential project have not been approved. Next, why doesn't DPP recognize CPR, a condominium property regime, while the state does? The DPP responds, the State Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs Real Estate Branch regulates CPRs pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statutes, Section 514B, the Condominium Property Act. And finally, has the DPP made any recommendations to the mayor prior to 2022 regarding the Turtle Bay Resort development? DPP responds, DPP has not made any formal recommendations to the mayor about the Turtle Bay Resort. Okay, that was all of them.
Thank you, Kat. Does that conclude your report?
That concludes my report. Yes.
Good job. All right. Let's move on to questions from board members. Nope. Kela? Yeah, please, double mic.
I guess my question was about, she mentioned something about the unilateral. What was the, what were you saying about that? Couldn't quite hear it clearly. Can you repeat that?
Yes, one moment. Let me go back to my notes. Okay, So the community had 4 questions regarding the unilateral agreement, the UA. Would you like me to read the 4 questions and answers again?
Yes.
Okay. Is the UA still a legally binding and enforceable document? Yes. What is the DPP's role in the UA? Administration and enforcement. Reviews plans submitted for UA compliance and enforcement if needed. 3. What is the community's role in the UA? Is there a specific group that represents the community? Response. The community was able to provide input via various community organizations or as individuals throughout the review process, including at the Planning Commission and City Council prior to establishment of the UA conditions. There is no specific group that represents the community. And 4, how can the city reopen the UA for renegotiations? Response. Any change in the UA will have to go through a zone change process and be approved by the City Council.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Okay, sorry, I forgot. If there's anyone with Jeep license plate number EU 760, could you please move your car? You're blocking other cars in. Again, Jeep EU 760. Jeep EU 760. We have people that need to leave and your car is blocking. Anyone in this room with a Jeep? License plate number EU 760. Okay. Do we have a color of the car? Black, dark, okay. Oh, okay. Your flash? Does it have a Shaka sign on it? Okay. Okay, no problem. Go ahead, go. You take care. Okay, board member Greer, go ahead.
Pat, can you have the DPP look at the unilateral agreement again? Because if you look on page 15, number 13, it's specifically.
Sorry, page 15, section
Of the
13.
unilateral agreement,
Mhm.
it says on number 13, declarant shall use its best efforts to perpetuate, work with, and obtain input from the Cui Lima North Shore Strategy Planning Committee throughout the development of the resort. So they need to go back and look at the UA because that committee is expressly identified in this legal document. So they may have to revise that answer. Just want to point that out.
Got it. I will relay that to them.
Okay, go right ahead. Board member Una.
Is it work? Oh. And if that group is no longer a viable working group, is it possible to get a community group that represents the voice of the community?
It is a viable working group.
Excuse me.
Sorry, no comments from the crowd, please. This is a.
No. Just to answer,
Um,
Sunny.
Well, I think she is directing the question to DPP,
Oh.
so let's let DPP answer. Was that a request to DPP to look into? Or a
Well, it
question?
sounds like there is a working group right now. Can we know who it is and yeah, how
So
they,
So you're asking DPP to get that information?
yes.
Okay.
Or if anyone.
To DPP, this is DPP's question time. Any other questions from board members? Okay, members of the community in person, please state your name and you have 1 minute.
My name is Evelyn Lane, and regarding the answer that there is no EIS required, I think that we need to go back and look at the Supreme Court decision, which says when there's an action, it is not a project. An action is an action, and it requires a evaluation and a public notice. And if it's over $500,000, it's not up to the mayor or the director of the planning and permitting. It has to go to the city council. And furthermore, the director of the planning and permitting does not have the discretion to make that decision because of the money involved. And I think that when they're looking at the EIS, they're saying it was approved. Approved means it was accepted, it was submitted. There is no finding with the the Department of Hawaii EPA saying that there is no significant impact at Turtle Bay for any reason under the 2013 EIS supplement. So I'd like to know how it is that they think that we can have something go forward with no permitting when we don't have any findings of no significant impact.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public in person? Go right ahead. You could grab the microphone over there. Please state your name. You have 1 minute.
Bernie Foster from St. Louis Sheriff. There's also been some ruling that has been occurred back in 2005 by Judge Okubo indicating that any kind of development going on at Turtle Bay should have been stopped completely, and knowing that there should be some kind of input by the community about what's going on. None of that has happened. And what's going on right now is the city itself is breaking the laws that was made back in 2005. That's what we got to really look into as well. But there's laws that's being broken by the city, by the very different departments, and none of it's being questioned right now. And here, the spokesperson from city and county saying that, oh, they're doing whatever they can do to look into the matter. And that's not what's going on. All they have to do is look at the court hearing that was put together by the Hawaii State Supreme Court back in 2005, saying that any
Okay,
of
Uncle,
that kind
please
of
wrap it up.
development should be done and looked into as well. None of that hasn't happened whatsoever. So in other words,
Okay,
the
thank
city
you,
and
Uncle.
county
Please wrap it up.
themselves are breaking the law. And that's what we should really look into.
Thank you, Uncle.
People
Please
can't
wrap it up.
Against that.
Thank you. Any other members of the community in person? If any gentlemen in the back, if you could come up and you need the mic or we need to hear your name and your people online would like to hear it. Sorry about that. Thank you for accommodating that.
My name is Eric Paulo. I'm from the Kogu community. I lived there for more than 30 years. 1986, I kind of heard the expansion of, I'm a construction worker. I think this project been long, delayed. Because you know why? I think if we had built Turtle Bay a long time ago, expansion, continue on is that we will control all these, this loss of land, private people coming in and buy all kind of property and put up their rock walls, for whatever purpose, to keep the locals from. Another thing is that, if Turtle Bay was built,
Okay,
we're at a
Uncle,
convent,
can you please summarize, please?
okay, well, all these, just the community, yeah. All the vending, all the pockets of, it's just unsafe.
Okay,
Right.
thank you, Uncle. All right. Anybody, okay, please come to the front, state your name. You have 1 minute, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cliff LeBoy. I'm with the Iron Workers Union, Local 625 Stabilization Fund. I'm just here tonight to let you guys know about the support we have throughout all the labor unions. I'm going to go down this list real quick. Within this list, we probably have about 8 to maybe 1,000 of your residents that's working in this field. Yeah, we complain about traffic, jobs and all of that. This job is probably going to provide about 1,800 jobs for your local people. You can take 1,800 cars off the road while they're working. So, it's going to minimize a lot of things, but in support from the state of Hawaii on this project behind we got the electricians, elevators, plasters, insulators, bricklayers, plumbers, sheet metal, IBEW, boilermakers, iron workers, painters, glazers, floor layers. We got drywall tapers, roofers, and operating engineer. We're
Okay,
talking
can you
about
please-
35,000 people supporting you guys to get this job done.
Okay, thank
We
you.
support it. Thank you.
Okay, next gentleman in the back, please come forward, state your name. And for the record, you have 1 minute.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anatuya Sosopo. I'm from the operating engineers. I head operating engineers. We have about 40,000 members. We have 3,000 members here in Hawaii. A lot of our members live on this side of the island. You know, it's sad. I live on Ever Beach, and I see all these Red Raiders shirts coming down and living on that side. A lot of them cannot afford to live here. You know, we always talk about we are priced out of paradise. You know, they all cannot. They got to move, and I hate that because I want my grandchildren, my kids to live here. So, you know, as operating engineers, all these tower cranes, you see, there's a lot of Polynesian boys. My son is one of the tower cranes. So I'm in here to support because there's a lot of our union members live on this side of the island. This job is going to be 10 years of work. So hopefully by then, my grandchildren will be in the union to support. And I just want to make sure that all people here that lives on this side of the island, they want to live here. A lot of us Samoan or Polynesian people want to live here, but they cannot afford. So they all move to the second city, and the second city is Ever Beach. And that's where I live. And it's sad to see them because they're Red Raiders for life and they want to live here, but there's no job. You know, with this job, ILW is going to be, yeah.
Please wrap it up.
ILW's got the Turtle Bay guys. Goodfellas, our union, they're going to use our union. And
Please
then
wrap it up.
that's right.
Thank you
So
so much.
support this job,
Thank
guys.
you very much.
Don't get priced out of paradise. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, board members, but I love you guys all. Thank you.
Okay, any other members of the community in person? Sir, please go right ahead. Come up to, you can use the microphone over there. Hey, please, you have 1 minute.
Hello, and thank you for this opportunity to speak in front of the Kololo board. I'm from Haula. I went to Haula School. I went to Coco High School. My kids went to Coco High School. My grandson plays golf for Coco High School. He's only a freshman, one of the top golfers in the state because of what Turtle Bay done and let our kids practice out there. Guys, we got a lot of football players, but we can get a lot more out here than just football players, okay? I'm from the area. We support the labor. We support our community. And that way I don't have to drive every day to Waikiki, to Diamond Head, or to Waianae to go work. I can work right here in my community. Please support Turtle Bay and what they're doing for us and for our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the community in person? Sir, go right ahead. You have 1 minute.
Hello, Chair, members of the board. My name is Mark Clemente, North Shore resident, member of the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters. Like the folks before me, we represent 6,000 hardworking men and women of the Carpenters Union, and we're in strong support of this project. You know, with a reduction in density from 3,500 to now 725 units, not to mention the 75% of open space to be preserved forever, I think this is something worth supporting. And again, we really support this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the community? Okay, I guess we have a line. Please proceed, name, and you have 1 minute.
Hi. Hi, Malama Min. I'm with the Hawaii Construction Alliance, and we represent the carpenters, laborers, operating engineers, masons, and bricklayers, and we're in strong support of this project.
Okay, sir, name, and you have 1 minute.
Mike Udall from Local 630, the operative cement masons and plasters. We're in strong support of this project. We represent guys all along the windward side who are in desperate need of work and also desperate need of work that allows them to afford a good living here in Hawaii. So please, we ask that you support this project.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, Chair. My name is Gino Supuena. I'm the Executive Director of the Hawaii Building and Construction Trades Council, which represents 18 construction trade unions here in the state of Hawaii. It's strong support of this project. A lot of our members, altogether collectively, about 30,000 of them. A lot of them who are members or residents of you guys' district or you guys' communities, and we really need this project. So thank you and support.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments from members of the public for DPP? For DPP, anybody? DPP, please. Okay. All right. Do we have anyone else in person that would like to ask a question or comment to DPP? Uncle, okay, in the back, you have 1 minute.
I would like to see the youth represented so that they can start their own farms and make $100,000 a year. I'm not joking. I did it. $10,000 in 3 months with a
Uncle, do
10-year-old
you have a
son.
question for DPP?
So now, can we get the permits to use the agricultural land and be able to live on the farm instead of them making it so nobody can use the land?
Okay, thank you. DPP, did you get that suggestion?
About making housing a permitted use on ag land. Got it.
Anyone else in person that would like to ask a question of DPP? Okay. I don't see anyone here. Let's move on. We're going to go online. I had a couple of questions. This is questions or comments to DPP. This is not the presentation.
More, yeah. Oh, yeah, good question.
So
I have a
Go ahead.
question. So I heard that in this project, mentioned that, the last study saying that there's no environmental impact was from 2013. But from like a scientific standpoint, usually studies aren't accepted unless they're like less than 5 years old. So my question is, why are we deferring to something that's over 10 years old and not getting a new study?
Kat, did you get that question?
Yes, should the EIS be stale? Because it's so old. Got it.
Okay, any other questions for DPP? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to go to questions that I have in the chat box. First one was Casey Connors in regards to tsunamis. Just make sure I got it. How high could a close-in tsunami be is the question from Casey Connors. Next, on that other, we also have, this is from Ella Chirosky, and she said, did I hear that there was no judicial foreclosure anymore on the property next to Hau'ula Post Office? And that his taxes were now current? If true, how did he get the property back? Did you get that one?
I did. BFS confirmed that there is no active judicial foreclosure. So the property was and remains in his name, and it looks like property taxes are current.
Okay, thank you. Where can we read the result of the judicial foreclosure information?
So I think there is no active judicial foreclosure case.
That would not be posted anywhere online, is that correct?
Right. I don't think there's any active filing at the court.
Okay, the next question is, I guess this is in regards to DPP, does it not seem that the agricultural, archaeological, cultural, and historical seems to be ignored? That is a question to DPP. I'm assuming it's about Turtle Bay.
I'm assuming that's for Turtle Bay. Okay.
Okay, and then the last one from Catherine Heath, which government agencies will be claiming to be responsible for the increased usage on Kamehameha Highway? To date, mayor says state gov, and then mayor says state, the governor says mayor. I would note that the 3 road closures in the last month and a half were all caused by tourist drivers.
Can I butt in here? Any construction will mean added use, added weight, added, denigration of the road. And that has not been and is standingly not addressed by state or county. So it really needs to be addressed by the DPP. Thank you.
Okay, did you get that, Kat?
Well, can I interpret as, will developers be made responsible for contributions to better roadway infrastructure?
I don't
because
care
of
who's
construction activity?
responsible. I want somebody responsible, and I want them to stop pushing tourism when the tourist drivers are shutting down the road. It's not acceptable. We have a bad road. Our road gets shut because our tourist drivers, are on their phones, whatever they're doing. But they've caused 3 closures. That's not a moot point. Don't develop something if you can't control them.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Casey Connors, I see your hand up. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks, Kat. For the Department of Emergency Management, it's not just how high the close-in tsunami is. The acting director said on a Zoom when I asked that there she doesn't have good data on the carrying capacity updated of Cam Highway. Can we have that? And how evacuation statistics also? That would be very helpful. The tax thing that you read, it was very funky. It didn't make sense. And love to re-ask the question because the illegal vacation rentals, the minimum are pushing up everyone's taxes. And yeah, let me just stop at that. But mahalo. Oh, I also asked about the Laie the Oceanside development, those 74 condos and multiplexes. Have they gotten their vertical permit yet? Because they cleared a private road and that without getting all the residents approval. So that looked like against the law. So now do they
Wrap
have
it
a
up, Casey.
vertical permit or not? Mahalo.
Thank you. Andrea, I see your hand up. Please proceed with your question.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hurricanes, tsunami, and other hazards like wildfires and flash flooding are all in Hawaii residents' future. They're all in all of our futures. Shipping strikes versus local food production becomes affected. Everybody needs to have their own household prepared for at least 2 weeks on most of Oahu, but a month or more if Ko'olauloa, per the CERT trainers and Haima, or to evacuate if there is time. Kamehameha Highway is the only through road. Unfortunately, it already takes too many hours to evacuate for some big hazards like this. And when they don't consider this a significant change, when you face the traffic now versus 1986, how they can call that no significant change is, I've lived through it. I know there's been a significant change. We have bumper to bumper all the time through North Beach and North Shore, I mean.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Please wrap it up.
That's it.
Thank you so much. Any other questions from members of the public online? Yeah, I have a couple here. How many of the workers that will be working on the project will be able to afford to buy and live in this new project? I'm assuming that's for Turtle Bay. And then the last one is, our only millionaires going to be the new residents in this proposed development? I believe that's also for Turtle Bay.
Got it.
Are there any other members online? Tara Rojas, I see your hand up. Please proceed with your question. Tara Rojas, please proceed. Going once, twice. Okay, thank you. Last question from Casey Connors in the chat. If the shore, oh, hang on, I see a double hand thing. Tara, are you there? Please unmute yourself and go right ahead. Oh, you're good. Okay. Sure.
I believe DPP was supposed to come to our Ko'olauloa neighborhood board last year. Is there any way DPP can come to our next Ko'olauloa neighborhood board to answer any questions, concerns about this particular project, please?
I'll pass on the request.
Okay. Thank you. I do have a hand up. Kaimana, I see your hand up. Please proceed. Kaimana, I see your hand up. If you have a question, please proceed. It looks like Tara cannot unmute. Tara, if you want to type your question into the chat, I can ask it for you. Same with Kaimana. If you cannot unmute for some reason, please type your question in the chat.
I have a point of clarification.
Yes.
Wasn't the DDP already invited to our neighborhood board meeting and they've just been putting us off, and I thought they were coming?
There was an invite put out and there was agendized and then they didn't come. No, they just said they wouldn't come and we couldn't get them back.
Can you please try to get them to
Sure.
come?
Of course. Okay, question from Kaimana. I cannot mute. There are 16,000 signatures for Kupa'a petition against Arete's development. With all respect to the union workers, it seems extremely short-sighted, and to say you support development in order to be priced out of paradise, the project will continue to price out. So this is an opinion. Not a question. At the very end, how do we ensure that the UA is looked at again with community members at the table? So that would be the question. You got
So
that,
this is-
Kat?
I do. Would you, this is related to an earlier response that DPP provided. Would you like me to read it again?
Does it answer the question?
So a change in the UA would require, a change in the UA, any of the conditions would require a zone change, which is through city council.
Got it. Okay. Okay, another question from Keith Stacy Khan is recent EV exposed at Turtle Bay erosion. So it is the shoreline update yearly, Kat?
So the DLNR requires that any shoreline be certified on at least an annual basis. I think it goes stale after 1 year.
Thank you. Tara, I see you cannot type as fast. That's not a problem. What you can do is type your question in the chat. We may move on, but what we'll do is we'll forward on your questions to Kat and she will report at the next meeting. Okay. Do I have any other comments or questions here online? Whatever you can, questions you need to type, we'll put it in there and do a follow-up for our next board meeting. Is there any other members of the public here in person or board members that would like to ask a question? Okay, so please grab the microphone, state your name, and then we'll have you go right after.
Yeah, this is a question to Kat. Just knowing that, pointing out about the judgment that was made by Judge Okobo back in 2005. Have you folks looked into that in any matter whatsoever?
Did you get that question, Kat?
The reference was made to a 2005 decision by Judge Okubo.
2005 decision extension approval by Judge Okobo.
By Judge Okubo. Oh, we'll look into it.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, you have a question, please? Name and you have 1 minute.
Hi, my name's Jojo Chang. I live on Laie Point, and I came to this meeting tonight because I wanted to find out more information about the HRI project proposed for the beach area. And I'm wondering if that will be covered tonight.
That is not on the agenda tonight. We have Pa'akui Lima, and then after that, we have the Oceanside Development in Punaluu. So this is not tonight. It's not on our agenda. Okay? All right. Board members, members of the public in person. Okay, thank you very much, Kat. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Member Matt Wire or staffer. Please proceed, make yourself known, and please proceed with your report.
Hi, Kane. Hi, everybody. Hello, board members. My name is Chelsea Gonzalez. I'm from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. I do have a link to the newsletter, and I'm going to go ahead and share that into the chat after I share some of the highlights here. First, in the opening message, we share that we honored Captain Chillingworth at our recent full council meeting. He was our honorary certificate guest. We also include that fiscal year 2026 budget season is approaching, and we wanted to highlight that we're closely monitoring potential federal funding changes, and we're working with city administration to ensure budget resilience. As you folks may have heard, there are some recent discussions at the federal level that include proposals to reduce federal grants that support many local organizations here, and that could significantly have impacts, right? So we know that currently the courts have stopped those federal grant cuts, but we just want to share that our office is closely monitoring. And if you know anyone who is experiencing any difficulties or challenges with federal policy or federal funding changes, you can go ahead and reach out to our office, and we'll just continue to monitor the situation. Some legislative highlights. Bill 15 was introduced by Councilmember Wire and was co-introduced with Chair Waters. This seeks to create a cesspool conversion grant program that would utilize a newly created climate resiliency fund. And so what this does is it helps families with a total household income under $100,000. And these households could qualify for funding up to $50,000 to go through septic conversion, trying to meet the goals that the state had set to convert cesspools in the area. And so let's see, that was introduced, and we expect to see at the full council meeting agenda on February 26th, so later this month. In some other news, legislative wise, we have resolution 25-03. So this one was the landfill reso. This was just reaffirming existing council policy that solid waste landfills should not be located above drinking water sources. And so that had passed unanimously out of council in January. So we want to just thank everybody who had testified in support for that. We are monitoring legislation that is happening at the state legislature. There's one bill in particular that I think Representative Sean Quinlan had introduced. That's House Bill 969, which seeks to prohibit the construction, modification, or expansion of landfills near or above an aquifer. So this bill was actually just heard February 11th, and it passed out of the House Committee on Water and Land. So if you do and are interested in tracking these type of measures, you can go ahead and do so at the state website, capital.hawaii.gov. Lastly, legislative wise, we have Bill 64, 2024. So this one was one that Councilmember Cordero introduced, which would establish a city down payment loan program that's independent from the state and federal ones that currently exist. And what this does, it expands some eligibility so that we can get more families into homes. And so if you want to learn more about the city's current program, you can always reach out to DCS's website. There are a couple of community updates that we did want to share. We wanted to mahalo Kipo'i Pono and Kupa'akuilima for hosting a community meeting at Sunset Beach Elementary regarding some of the concerns over the development at Turtle Bay. So our office's main priority is to make sure that everyone is compliant with the law, and we look forward to continuing the work with community groups and DPP to address further questions about the project. Councilmember also wanted to mahalo everyone who has emailed our office and the mayor in support of a first responders hub across from Sharks Cove. We understand that the administration is in discussions with the owner, and we remain hopeful that the process will move forward. Lastly, there were, I think, questions that came up around Kahuku Elderly Hau'oli Hale. This is the senior housing, and we had actually met with Anton and some of the team from DCS, and it sounds like where they last left off is that they followed up with HUD, which is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and HUD had reached out to the property management company EAH, but they have not received a response from EAH. So they're going to be doing some additional follow-up on their end, and as soon as we have updates to give, we'll be sure to do that. Lastly, there was just a few questions around Kupuna tax relief bills. I think Mike Patterkin had come up last neighborhood board meeting, and so there were just some legislation that he was curious about. I think a lot of these bills that I'm going to share are currently waiting to be heard in committee, in a specific committee, but there's Bill 47, which is Aina Kupuna. And then there's also Bill 43, which is installment payments. There's also Bill 45, which is a low income tax credit. And I just want to be mindful of my time, but I can go ahead and share all of this information into the chat as well. Thank
Perfect,
you.
thank you. Questions from board members? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Questions from members of the public in person? Hearing and okay, sure, go right ahead. If you could grab the mic, state your name, you have a minute.
Hi, Chelsea. I was wondering if you had had a chance to review the Supreme Court decision in the Turtle Bay case to see how the law is not being followed, not the spirit of it, and not the essence of it. And that there was no finding, there is no finding of no significant impact in the EIS that was prepared and submitted for approval, but never actually approved other than being submitted. as far as an environmental impact statement that was settled through a negotiated agreement and set aside by the court.
Chelsea, did you
Thanks,
get
Ev-
that question?
Yep, got that question. Thanks, Evelyn. I did circulate some of that with the team and definitely something to also follow up with DPP. I'll be sure to also circulate it on my end. I think Kat had the same question as well, so we'll be sure to follow up. Thank you.
Okay, any other members of the public here in person that has a question for Councilmember Matt Wire's office? Okay, hearing and seeing none, let's move to the online. Any persons online that would like to ask a question? Okay, Casey Connors, I see your hand up. Please proceed, Casey, and then
Yes, and thank you. Please pass on our thanks for the cesspools and the aquifer. Two things. Is there a way that Matt can help us with diversifying the jobs here and higher paying jobs like film, TV, or music? These are the jobs that our kids want, or even the LIMU industry. And is there any way, instead of the having our construction community build for vacationers and luxury residents, is there any way we can have them redo their roads, build more schools, more affordable housing, senior centers, youth centers? The library needs to be expanded. Is Matt able to look into that? So we do have jobs this side, but they build for the community instead of for the tourists. And is that possible, like affordable housing for us? Is Matt able to help us with that? Mahalo.
Thanks, Casey. Just one clarifying question. You want me to ask if there's a way for Matt to ask the luxury development to build?
If Matt is looking in housing and planning and zoning, are there ways that we can make sure that that we have things built for the community and affordable housing for the community, so that the construction workers so desperate, well, they're not desperate for a job, they want jobs this side, that they don't just build luxury homes, they build things for the community. The better schools, the resilience hub, things like that. Is that possible? That with planning and zoning, and also he's on housing, we need that housing, and of course we need the road fixed. We could have everyone on this side in construction.
Thank you, Casey.
working on that. Mahalo.
Okay, moving on, Stacia. Stacia, I see your hand up. Please proceed with your question.
Thank you. Chelsea, I had a question about DPP's accountability to your office or to the city council members. I know that in the past, community groups have gotten together about issues, and we've gone through, the House, and we've gone through you guys, and it comes down to DPP, and it seems like they've been able to make unilateral decisions through unelected officials, through Dina Cheetah and now Dawn, and they seem to just, in the dark, settle things through corporate counsel, and there's no accountability. And I'm just wondering, like, what power do you guys actually have, and what teeth do you have over DPP?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. I'll go ahead and take that back to the team.
Okay, thank you. Kaimana and Tara, I see your hands up. If you're able to unmute, Kaimana, we'll go to you first. If not, please type your question in the chat. Same thing for Tara. Cannot unmute, please type your question in the chat.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna start my video too, and so I want to show you something. Right now, I'm in the Ever Beach Neighborhood Board meeting. This is the Steve Babcock, in which we're saying Aole landfill. He's right now talking about the sewer fee increase. There's going to be sewer fee increase. I'm gonna clarify, because I'm probably up next to speak here. If it's for just Ever Beach, I'm trying to vote at once. So I'm just gonna say a minute, my last probably 30 seconds, that these developments, I hear, that we need to stay on island. I hear that we need, opportunities, to where to live, etc. But I've been in so many meetings, this whole DPP, the HCDA, this legislature, this whole system, this accountability that, oh, we've asked for public input. The public input is never heard in these type of meetings. I went to a public hearing. I was the only one that went up, and even if there's a whole community, and the whole community is there right now saying no, you know, or well, actually not, sorry, I heard for and against, but the fact is, sewer, you're gonna build, like, what's the end result? That's gonna have this here. So I'm just gonna
Thank you,
say,
Tara.
this
Please
whole
wrap up.
system, that this whole system really is not meant for the people. It's meant to build beyond capacity, and then you end with a
Thank you,
sewer
Tara.
fee increase and all that. Okay, so just
Appreciate it.
mahalo. I just
Thanks so
want to
much.
put that in. Mahalo.
Taimana, are you able to unmute? Okay, if not, then we'll move on. Any other questions from members of the public online? See any in person? Board members? Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on into our agenda. U.S. House of Representatives, Congresswoman Jill Tokuda, her staff has emailed, she will not, they will not be attending, but there has been a report that will be sent out to the board. Governor's representative, I believe you're online, please go ahead with your report.
Thank you, Chair. Erica Yamauchi, aloha mai kako. I'm with the Office of Wellness and Resilience, here as a liaison with the Office of the Governor. In the interest of time, I'm going to just drop links to both the Office of the Governor's newsletter as well as the Office of Wellness and Resilience's newsletter. I think the primary question that I got last time when I was there in person, and I apologize for not being able to be there in person today, but I did pass along the invitation to the governor to visit renewable energy projects in the area. And the governor's scheduler asked if there was a specific event that you'd like him to attend. And if it's a more general invitation, I would just need more specific information. I can drop my email into the chat and coordinate that with you. But I did also drop into the chat a form on the governor's website where you can ask the governor to attend an event. I think that was the primary question that I got last time. Some of the issues have already been addressed by the state representative.
Okay, thank you. Questions from board members? Board member Uma.
I just wanted to clarify that was an invitation from Kahuku Community Association for a on-site tour of the turbines. So we would just coordinate a time with the governor's schedule and make that happen.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, questions from other board members? All right, questions from members of the community in person for the governor's office? All right, hearing and seeing. Proceed, Naaman, you have 1 minute.
Does the governor think that the largest resort in the state of Hawaii, inhabiting 800 and some acres, should go forward without an environmental impact statement after there hasn't been one since 1986, and the one that was done in 2013 did not find no finding of impact? Or does he think that we should have an environmental impact statement, or at least notice of one?
Thank you, Evelyn. I've noted the question.
Okay, any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, going online, any members of the public online?
Yes.
Casey, please proceed.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, could the governor consider doing a carrying capacity for Hawaii and Oahu, and especially this side? Because as I said, the traffic is bumper to bumper. We're also concerned about all the money going to promote tourism. I was just quoted in the paper. So we don't understand why so much money, millions upon millions, is going to promote tourism, and why aren't the hotels doing that themselves? And can't that money be instead used to buy out Turtle Bay? Would the governor consider buying out these last parcels at Turtle Bay or eminent domain? Because the ecological, the cultural, the traffic, the safety, The tsunami threats are just so great.
Okay, so I want to show you this really quick as part of my testimony. Can you see me now? Okay.
Tara, hang on
So-
just a second. Casey was doing
I
her
could-
question.
Yeah, I was.
Sorry,
No,
should I
I have my hand raised all this time. I have my hand raised for the sewer.
I understand that, Sarah, but we're gonna move on. Thank you.
I had a comment about the sewer. I'm listening right now. Look, I'm in the Lower Neighborhood Board meeting and
Thank you, Tara. We'll meet you. Thank you.
Should,
Okay.
Pamela,
did you
should
get-
I
go ahead.
ask? Could you hear my 3 questions?
Did you
Yes,
get
I
that,
did.
Erica?
I did. Did you say a carrying capacity study?
Yes, carrying capacity study, decrease the millions spent on tourism and diversify the economy, and
Okay.
the buyout or eminent domain of Turtle Bay for the multitude of reasons.
Got
Wow.
that. Thank you, Casey.
Okay, any other members of the public online that would like to ask a question? No. She didn't raise her hand. Okay, all right, we have people in person, so we'll start with the gentleman here. Please proceed, come to the front, state your name and you have 1 minute.
Hi, my name's David Stan. I'm from Cava. I got a question for the mayor.
Oh, this is for the governor.
The governor, sorry, because I spoke to the mayor too. But anyway, we sent out a proposal to the governor about bringing the film industry back here. We talked to a bunch of the producers and also 2 studios in California to help bring back the film industry here in Hawaii. There's 12 points on the bullet point that we did send to them. We're asking the governor to kind of dig into it a little bit more. We're talking about 300 jobs that can be, that has been created here in Hawaii, bringing over $1 billion a year. For example, Georgia, when they first implemented it, it was $8.55 billion that was brought into the state. So what we're asking the governor to do is kind of take a deeper dive into it, because we talked to the mayor, we talked to the Governor Abercrombie that is helping us here, but it's the guys in the middle that's kind of holding us up. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And you said the petition was already delivered and you haven't received a response?
Nobody has.
But you can't hear, you gotta come up to the mic.
No, spoke to, Glenn Giardi, also spoke to, former Governor Abercrombie last week, and he's all aboard. Also spoke to Brenton on the phone. What we're trying to do is just trying to help out and give, the people in California relief because of the fires, and they have no production right now in Hawaii, in California. Hawaii is one of the, best places in the world to film, but yes, to answer your question, no, we have no response. There's, I know there's a couple of bills in the Senate right now. Those bills won't give immediate relief. I have 200 friends right now that are going to go be homeless in a couple months because they don't have jobs. So we're putting millions of dollars into the homeless right now, and we're not helping the people who are actually working that'll be homeless in a couple months.
Okay, I'll follow up. Thank you, David.
Okay, Ben, please proceed. You have 1 minute.
Aloha, Ben Schaefer from Kahana. Couple of things. In the beginning, Defend Oahu, Keep the North Shore Country, Sierra Club, others, state and county got together and they came up with a compromise. What we have now is a compromise. The building of 5, but they're going to make 4, right? 4 or 3? 3. Yeah, and so that's a compromise from what it was before. In fact, they want to do even more, but that was a compromise. Number 2.
Ben, do you have a question for the governor too?
Sure. I don't have a question. I just support the plan moving forward, the development going forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Last call for members of the board. Nothing from online I can see. Thank you very much. We will move on in our agenda. Okay, we have one more question.
I'd like to know who has negotiated this plan to reduce and now is approving it to go forward. None of us here in the community have heard any of these plans. We don't get any of this information, but all of a sudden, the building department and all the people that are going to be building this all out, they've all agreed to it, and we didn't get a chance to know any of that either.
Please don't slam the mic. That's I would say that's taxpayers' dollars, but I understand the frustration, but
It's
please
so
don't-
annoying when we tried.
I'm not
for
trying to get in a
months
conversation,
Back in
ma'am.
August to try to find out what was going on and nobody
We-
wants to
we
come to
understand
this
your
neighborhood and
frustration.
tell us, not even the commissioner of the neighborhood of the planning permitting, i.e. Commissioner.
Thank you very
Martin.
much. Any other questions, members of the public here in person? Okay, seeing that, thank you very much. Erica, we'll see you next month. Senator Brenton Awa or staffer, if they are here online, please make yourself known and proceed with your report. Okay, I don't see her online, so. All right, we will move forward in our agenda. If they come up later, we'll bring them back in. Moving on, State House Representative Sean Quinlan or staffer. We have someone from Sean Quinlan's office here, please.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Wait,
Yes,
hold on, sweetie. I'm on the Zoom. Can you turn the lights on, Max? It's dark. Can you turn the lights on? Sorry, I've been banished to the lanai. Well, Chelsea already delivered part of my report. But Councilmember Wire and I are working on a number of different pathways to try and prevent the siting of this new landfill over an aquifer. I really can't thank Councilmember Wire enough for standing side by side with me throughout this entire process as we tried to attack it from both the state and city angles. If we don't have fresh drinking water, that's it. We all got to move somewhere else. So nothing is more important to me right now. Second, just, I heard a lot of questions about the 2005 Supreme Court case. In the case of the Arete development, I think that there is a strong legal argument to be made that a Kapa'akai framework analysis was not performed. Whether or not we have community groups that have standing that choose to litigate over that is certainly another question. And then lastly, I don't know if I've ever brought this up, but I have kind of a new job at the State House. So I'm the House Majority Leader now, which is why I just got home like 5 minutes ago. And so what does that mean, Majority Leader? Well, it's my job to build consensus among the majority of the body to pass legislation. It means, unfortunately, that I will be spending a lot more time in town and I can't be at home as much. It means that it might take me, unfortunately, a little longer than I would like sometimes to return your guys' phone calls or emails. And that's very painful because that's something I really do pride myself on, is getting back to you guys as quickly as possible. And the most painful part is that I can't vote no all the time, like I'm used to doing, because in the position of Majority Leader, I'm supposed to hopefully prevent bad bills from reaching a vote. So, you guys might have some questions about why I voted a certain way, but please just reach out to my office and I'll call you back as soon as I can. So that is my report and I'm ready for any questions.
Any questions from the board? Questions from members of the public in person? Questions from members of the public online? Casey, I see your hand. Please proceed with your question. You have 1 minute.
Yes, again, Sean, thank you so much for the aquifer leadership and your leadership. Again, is there any way that the state can help shut down the illegal vacation rentals? They're not paying tax, they're not paying TAT, and that's under state jurisdiction. And secondly, is there any way you can help diversify jobs? Again, film tax credit. Our side is so talented with the culture, and we would love to grow that and keep that going. Many of us are very concerned with the huge amounts of money going to tourism. Is there any way that can be cut? Because the hotel industry, we believe, should be, or big tourism should be paying for that, not the taxpayer. So those are the kinds of issues that we want to keep people in their homes and have them be able to have jobs that afford to stay here. Is there anything that you can help us with on that? And congratulations and mahalo for years of work. Of course, we'd love the knucklehead hiker bill to pass because there are more and more things. Mahalo.
Thanks, Casey. So just really briefly, I did pass probably the favorite bill of my career last year that I'd been trying to get passed for 4 years on vacation rentals, where the state finally gave the counties full authority to amortize, shut down, close down vacation rentals, legal or illegal, and amortize non-conforming uses. The ball is now firmly in the court of the counties, but they do have the power and the authority. On your second question, I would just like to note that in terms of state spending, we currently spend about $35 million a year, give or take, advertising Hawaii in major markets, mostly North America at this point. And to compare that with our film industry, we spend $50 million every year on a refundable, transferable film tax credit. So we're actually spending $15 million a year more on the film industry than on the tourism industry.
Okay, thank you.
And oh, I'm sorry. And there's also,
As an economist, I disagree, but that's okay.
okay, as
Thank you,
somebody who
Casey.
looks at the state budget every day, I agree with myself, but thanks.
Okay, any other questions from members of the public in person? I mean, online? In person? Board members? Okay, thank you very much, Representative Quinlan. We'll see you next week.
Thanks,
next
guys.
month.
Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi, who's that? Oh, bye, okay. All right, we are now moving on to the presentation portion of our meeting. As you know, now you can understand, especially for those of you who are new, why we went with 1 minute, because it takes a very long time to get through community reports. This preserves time for the people who are presenting. Board members, Pa'akai Kulima has asked to do 10 minutes as opposed to 8. Are you guys opposed to that? That's just for the presentation. 8 minutes is what we have. They're asking for 10. Can we do 10? I would assume we'd have to do both. Is there any, I know she's asking for moments. Board members, are you amenable to that? Okay. Yours is short? Okay, so we'll take away from Sunny's time. How's that? So we'll give Sunny 6 minutes. You'll have 10 minutes. She's not taking, yeah, Sunny's going to give her some of her time. Okay, before you start, I just want to, since we have a lot of new people here, this is how this is going to happen. She's going to present, just like how we've done for the reports. Board members will ask questions or comments. Everything is in 1 minute. After that, I'll go to people in person here.
Is that like at school?
No.
For
I'm at the
questions.
neighborhood board meeting.
Oh.
For questions.
Oops. Shut up, Bunny. Used to be like the head of.
Can you mute?
Okay. Two minutes to make it 10 minutes for her. Yeah, and Sunny will get 8 minutes. I mean, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. Is that correct? After, because public can comment on it and, right? Okay, so just to be clear, everyone, we'll do the same process that we had for community reports. We'll try to get as many people coming in. So if you have a second question, I'm going to do like a first round of questions. And everyone can get their questions. If you have a second question, let's wait till everyone has had a chance and opportunity to say their question. Then we'll repeat that. Okay? Before you start, we ask that you please don't repeat the same question. We're trying to preserve time here to get as many variety of questions as possible for the board to hear, because really the board's going to make the decision. Last of all, so this project has been pretty controversial in our area. I've received word that there have been death threats against the developer. I want to make it clear here, if there are any death threats for any of our neighborhood board members or their families, I've already been in contact with HFD and the FBI. They are waiting to help us. Anything like that happens. These are elected officials. These people give up their time for years. Years. They do not deserve that kind of threat. So I'm trying to make this very clear that there will be prosecution on the federal level, on the city level. Please understand that. Please be nice. Let's all talk story together in a very amenable way. With that said, you have your 10 minutes.
Aloha, thank you for having me. I'm Jessica Dos Santos, and I'm here to present on behalf of Ku Pa'akuilima Next. We are a newly formed community-led group on the North Shore of Oahu dedicated to protecting Aina, empowering local voices, and advocating for Pono change in response to rapid development at Turtle Bay. Next. Our board members are Melissa Ka'onohi Commit, Ramzi Kalimlim, myself, Jessica Dos Santos, and Lily Makaila, and they're all here tonight in the audience. I was born and raised Kohuku and Koku, Plaza 97. So Turtle Bay spans 7 ahupua'a, including Kohuku. It was opened in 1972, and the most recent owner before the new owners was Blackstone, which we'll refer to as BRE in this presentation. So in 2005, Kuilima Resort Company applied for subdivision approval. That led to 2 court cases. The first court case ended with the Hawaii Supreme Court ruling that a new SEIS was needed because they should have been required DPP should have required one. Then when in 2013, DPP accepted that SEIS, there was a second court case. The same groups mentioned above, Unite Here Local 5, Keep the North Shore Country, and Sierra Club, challenged that SEIS, arguing it was inadequate, and sued again in that December. As a result of that, there were simultaneous negotiations and settlements. One being the Keep the North Shore Country and Sierra Club settled to reduce the units from 725 from over 3,000. And there was a conservation easement agreement as well that was facilitated by the Keep the North Shore Country and our public trust for public lands, as well as the North Shore Community Land Trust. They did have an option to purchase, but that option expired in 2017. So sometimes inaccurately touted as a quid pro quo, I believe Ben was mentioning it was a agreement, but this was inaccurately touted as a quid pro quo agreement by developers and others. But advocates always intended to place H1, H2, and RR3 into conservation, reflecting the community's longstanding wishes. So 665 acres of Makai lands, 4 miles of coastline, and 468 acres of Mauka land were preserved forever. Unfortunately, BRE insisted on retaining the development rights to the core H1, H2, and RR3, Hotel 1, Hotel 2, and RR3. There was a separate settlement with Unite Here Local 5 to ensure jobs requiring hotel services and new developments. And there's a question of in the unilateral agreement, there was supposed to be 51% resort units must be full service, but then the settlement said at least 30% must be full service, 20% can be short-term rentals, and then the rest fewer services. So should the requirement be 100% full service to actually provide jobs to the community if this needs to move forward? So as part of those negotiations, there were restrictions on opposition. Keep the North Shore Country, Sierra Club, all of the Local 5 union members, Kuilima East and West were all, they insisted that these groups sign no opposition provisions. So many of our community members are gagged from having the freedom and their First Amendment freedom to oppose Turtle Bay. That's why a lot of people are not able to stand up against this development today. During 2020, the Ko'olauloa Sustainable Communities Plan, if you look in the technical report of the process of that plan, you will see that many people, including the working groups, hundreds of residents, many of them opposed Turtle Bay's expansion plans and the inclusion of the Turtle Bay expansion language in the Ko'olauloa Sustainable Communities Plan. Then in 2022, Turtle Bay's attorneys asked if they needed a new SEIS and a new SFA permit. Then, 5 months later, the then DPP Director Dean Uchida exercised his discretionary authority to decide that no new SEIS or SMA permit was needed, again, because of that lower density and intensity. And Kupa Akoilima disagrees with the DPP's decision and is concerned with the lack of analysis and insufficient review provided by the DPP director in that notice. That was published in the environmental notice, and that was technically public notice, but there was no direct notification to the community from the developer. Few people read the environmental notice, and it's not a substitute for direct communication with the community on such an important project. Then in December of 2022, the BRE applied for RR3 Phase 1 permits. BRE did not provide any notice to the community. And in a letter sent to Kupa Akoilima in last month, they said that they do not have a duty to notify the community. There's no legal obligation to notify the community. And our response is just because it's legal doesn't, to give no direct notice doesn't make it pono, particularly when the developer knew longstanding community interests in and opposition to development. They appear to place the blame on community members for not constantly monitoring DPP permit sites when we were not anticipating any permits to be applied. There are two new owners. The first new owner is Host Hotels. The manager is Marriott, and the brand is Ritz-Carlton. The second new owner is Arete Collective, and this was announced in May of 2024. The Arete Collective were previously involved in designing for RR3 and purchased after Blackstone opted not to develop. We want to protect our endangered species. There are 13 endangered species on one of the last intact coastal strand habitats on Oahu. Many of them are endangered and or threatened. And I encourage everyone to learn more about these species and the role that they play in the environment and in the maintaining the ecosystem. In particular, the Moli, 5 years, Moli first successfully nested at Kahuku Point in 2018, which was 5 years after the last SEIS was completed. And currently this season, there are 32 nests in that area. Moli need new, open areas with few obstructions. So this is something new in the environment that came up after the SEIS. In addition, the Nalomeli Maoli, in 2016, 7 of the Hawaii's 60 species of yellow-faced bees were added to the endangered species list. These are important pollinators for a variety of coastal strand plants and are believed to have co-evolved with Ojai. We need the bees. They are essential for our environment. And this is new information that happened after the 2013 SEIS. There are 5 Arete sites. RR3 are 19 condo buildings. H2 is hotel with 250 units. B2 is a clubhouse near RR3. They have permits in for a road and a comfort station near East Main Drain, and they also lease and operate the golf courses. So the current development is phase 1, which is 4 buildings, 20 units, the road and the comfort station. Pre-construction began in June of 2024. They do have permits for geotech grading, grubbing, and dust fence, but they do not have vertical building permits for phase 1, the comfort station, but those could issue at any time. This is the site plan. So for reference, Keiki Pond, Splash Pond, Mermaid Pond, whatever people call it, is right to the left where you see that sort of like body of water right over there. And then Kalai'okana'oa Point, which a lot of our endangered species are, is to the right. And so you can see all the buildings span all the way up along the coast, abutting almost right next door to Kalai'okana'oa and our endangered species. This is our conservation map. And so you can see that on the left-hand side is Kawela Bay. You have a proposed city park that is part of the unilateral agreement. Then you have going up to up the cove, a possible H1, Hotel 1. Then you have the current hotel and H2, RR3, and you notice that there's a city park proposed under the unilateral agreement right on Kalai'oka Na'oa. So buildings 3 and 4 may be within the 150 to 300 feet setback as far as we know. And under the unilateral agreement, all structures shall be generally set back a minimum of 300 feet. This criteria, again, was set in 1986, decades prior to the current sea level rise projections. And each of the 3,000 to 6,000 square foot luxury condos may cost between $6 and $8 million. RR3 marketing has started. They're calling it the North Shore Club. These are some renderings of, for example, their bathroom. And in the middle of a time when more Kanaka Maoli live outside of Hawaii than inside of Hawaii, a severe housing crisis, a severe houseless crisis, they're asking people from outside of Hawaii to make the North Shore home. Wait. Okay. Okay, I have 1 more minute. Okay, supplemental environmental impact statements are required if new information or major changes occurred. They need to reevaluate the impacts and ways to reduce those impacts. The most current SEIS is from 2013 and was challenged in court due to being inadequate. It relies on a flawed full build-out scenario instead of the required no action alternative. It's outdated and complete data such as coral cover data and anticipated sea level rise. New factors like rising populations of monk seals, green sea turtles, Laysan albatross, and yellowface bees, new risks associated with sea level rise and coastal erosion, and the Kapa'akai framework required by the state constitution, all were not taken into consideration in that 2022 determination. The SMA comes with a UA next. The unilateral agreement is legally binding, but there are a lot of questions. It's vague. We're not sure if this reflects what the community wants next. So Kapa'akai analysis, it applies to agencies whenever they act, and there was no Kapa'akai framework analysis. Go ahead. We're saying that they left residents without a voice. It's inadequate. There are endangered species. It's exacerbating already critical congestion safety risks. Next. We're asking them to withdraw the 2022 determination, initiate a process for the updated SES and SMA, form a representative Ko'olauloa North Shore group to renegotiate a community benefits package to ensure the compliance with Kapa'akai framework analysis to safeguard Native Hawaiian cultural and traditional practices, and to pause any and all development activities or the issuance of permits until the laws are followed. Here is our support. In 2006, the Whenua Coalition gave 5,000 signatures. There was another petition with 8,252 signatures. Kahuku Community Association voted to support. Sunset Beach Community Association voted to support. North Shore Neighborhood Board voted to support. Brenton Awa, Sean Quinlan, Kipa Wa'ipono, La Hui Foundation, Ko'olau Waialua Alliance, Halemua Ko'olauloa all wrote letters of support. Our current petition is over 16,100 signatures with over 400 petition comments. Thousands of those people are our Ko'olauloa and North Shore residents. Kupa'akuilima would like to request that the Ko'olauloa Neighborhood Board make a motion to write a public letter in support of Kupa'akuilima's petition directed to elected officials, the developer, and others. Thank you.
I just said, please refrain from cheering or clapping, trying to keep everything open so that people with different opinions don't feel intimidated. All right, but she did a great job. I admit that too. She did a great job. I'm impressed.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. Okay, so board members, questions?
Question. Jessica, we appreciate all your hard work in going, and I love the way you spoke the Hawaiian words and using the right. But my question to you is, with all that you've done, have you guys ever considered getting in touch with the kupunas? What I mean is, you know, you talk about the unilateral. I was on that committee, and my question to you is that our kupunas that was on that unilateral worked very hard in trying to get our community to get the things that we needed. And it is still active. The committee is still active. In fact, we got together and we were just wondering if it's possible that your committee and our committee can get together. I mean, to get together instead of coming here and looking like you guys are on one side and we're on the other side. We don't want that, but we want to get together to talk, to kuka. We talk about all the things that our ancestors taught us is to be mindful of each other. All the things that you presented is important to all of us that was under unilateral agreement. And yes, all of them have not done, but we have someone that is willing to do the things that we want them, exactly what you just did. They want to protect they want to protect everything that we want. As a kupuna and a Hawaiian, I am very grateful, but I'm just wondering, rather than us sitting here and saying, you guys belong one side and we belong the other side, we don't. We're one. We either come here together as one and giving everybody the opportunity to get together. As someone that's been on that committee, we know what it's like. We know what the struggle was. But all we're asking is, can we get together before we take a vote? Can we get together so we can show the unity that we have? We are not separated. We are here together. I just want to bring this up because both sides have worked very hard. This is one of the things that we fought for, is to save the land, to save our children from not moving out. And I am begging you to at least let us sit together and talk and kuka, rather than us taking a vote now tonight, because we were never given that opportunity. And I can tell you truthfully, nobody came to me to ask. Nobody came to, we're still here. Uncle Junior Primacio is still alive. Dino, all of the people from Kahuku that was on that unilateral is still here. So all I'm asking is to, you talk about being Hawaiian, that's Hawaiian. We ho'oponopono. The word ho'oponopono is needed. And this is what I am here for, is we want the same things that you guys want. We want to have that. And we're just happy that this generation is getting involved. And yes, you're right. It should come from the young generation. But when we leave this earth and the legacy goes on, we're hoping that they consider the kupunas in the decisions that is being made, because the kupunas were there first. And they're trying to leave the legacy that they've worked very hard to keep the land the way it should be and to learn. And I'm just trying to let you know that we do have a board and it's very much alive, and we're trying to get together with you. And that's all I'm asking, is that you try. We try to sit down together and talk. Because, sometimes for me, as a Hawaiian, it looks very ugly, sorry. And, we can help each other. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, we're open. We're definitely open. We encourage community involvement. We encourage community voices. Unfortunately, we don't have information of who the members are, and we don't know if the members are representative of what the larger community wants, but we respect that in 1986, you guys worked hard to do that for our communities. And I respectfully, say that
Did you want to
a
have
lot
this
of things have
conversation
changed.
offline after the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Great.
go ahead.
So Lorraine, we'll go to Lorraine and then Sunny Ray.
I have to say this, and I totally respect all sides. I truly do. And you know how much respect I have for all of you guys and preserving. I've watched this and I have looked at what Arete has been willing to do. And just in the 38 years I've lived here, I've seen a lot of developers come in and they have in no way done what Arete has already done. And so I guess what I'm saying, two questions really fast. For clarification, are you hoping to stop the project completely? I really want to, I'm a little unclear. You know, we're saying pause, but it's sounding like you're talking about you want to stop the project completely. Could you clarify for us?
We want what the petition is asking for. So number one, we want the DPP to withdraw the determination to require a new SEIS and a new SMA permit. Number two, we want the government agencies to require that a new representative Ko'olauloa North Shore sort of a more representative group be established so that they can renegotiate the unilateral agreement that has great things that we should advocate for the community, but also things that are extraordinarily like detrimental to the environment and to our community today that should be renegotiated and changed. Number three, we're asking that the Kapa'akai framework analysis be applied according to the state constitution to protect the rights, the native gathering rights, and to make sure that that law is applied to protect those rights. And so we're asking a pause on any and all development and permits until all of those processes are carried out. Nothing we're asking for is unreasonable. Nothing we're asking for is against the law. In fact, we're asking them to follow the law. And our environmental laws are there for a purpose, to protect the environment and the people and the health and the well-being of our coral reefs. So for example, a new SEIS is needed. The coral reef data that was presented at the grassroots meeting showed that the SEIS was highly inadequate. It highly misrepresented the amount of coral. And if you know, the Kumulipo tells us coral is the foundation of life. And if we're going to develop something that could potentially, you know, damage all of these thriving areas that will be birthplaces for our fisheries so that we can eat, we need to relook at that. It's actually essential for life.
And my second question, and I'm kind of piggybacks on Auntie Kella's, and that is, in meeting with Arete, I'm assuming that by now you have given Arete a list of your concerns. Have they shown that they have not been willing to work with the community? I'm just trying to understand this more deeply. And so if you've met, have they shown resistance to the ecological and environmental issues and the endangered species issues?
So are you resistance to protecting the environment?
Have they shown a resistance to being willing to work with you in protecting this and working with, you know, ensuring that they don't violate any of these things, including the Iwi Kupuna and the endangered species and the shoreline birds? The shore.
So they have been in communication with us, but as far as resistance goes, they have canceled a lot of meetings. They canceled Kahuku Community Association meeting. They canceled North Shore Neighborhood Board meeting. There was no open forum at their open house. You know, we have sent them emails that they have not responded to. But we feel like without a proper environmental impact statement to look at the current environmental situation today, Kamehameha Highway is literally falling into the ocean. That is a risk factor that was not studied or addressed in the 2013 SCIS. Houses are falling literally into the ocean on the North Shore. New species are coming back to life. We are talking about, sea level rise and managed retreat, like actually having to manage retreats. And so we feel like when we're looking at environmental protection, there needs to be a more thorough study done. And we disagree that the 2013 SCIS is adequate.
Quick question. I believe you are on the Cultural Advisory Committee. In that time frame, did they not notify you of their intention to submit their permits in DPP on the 2022?
No. Did I ask? Yes. And no, I was not notified.
Did you ask if the existing group noted in the UA was an active group?
You mean when I was on the committee?
No, what in your process of working with Arete, did you ask
Oh.
whether or not that group was still active and they still have members working and having meetings? If you happen to ask that question.
Yes, through different avenues, we have asked about that working group. And we know that in the past, it was like the initial group, and then it was like a larger group, and then we did get confirmation that it had been disbanded, like it had been dissolved. And then we only just heard recently that this group had been reconstituted through like the grapevine. But we recently emailed the developers that very question, can they tell us more about this group? Who are the people on this group and so forth? And then we also have questions about what that group is tasked with doing and what kind of decision-making powers this group has. And so even if this group follows the unilateral agreement, do they just comment on design and the childcare center? Or do they also address the very much so larger crises that need to, that we're facing, housing and all of that? And so that's why we're asking for a larger representative North Shore Ko'olauloa group that would be facilitated by a third party, an outside party, to actually listen to the community today.
Just a comment. At first place, that was an extraordinary presentation. It really was. And I read through it carefully before I came. And if you are any indication of this next generation that's coming up, I'm extraordinarily hopeful. I mean, your group is remarkable. And I also take Auntie Kella's comments to heart. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what this discussion will be and what the two groups will come up with when they meet together. But really, thank you for doing this. And as I said, I'm so hopeful after listening to you.
Thank you.
Okay, two questions. Has the developer broken any laws? It seems like they have, but I mean, that's. Yeah.
We're not attorneys.
Perfect. Also, so I'm looking at the four things in your ask here. If the determination by DPP somehow comes back and they say, no, this is still legit, are you guys going to take them to court, or what's the plan?
I can't answer that on behalf of the community and on behalf of people who may want to take further steps.
I guess you're representing your group. Does your group have a plan after the fact if the asks that you have don't happen? I'm asking her.
Our group has not met to talk about what would happen. We have not talked about that because we're putting forth the petition, and this is what we're asking for right now. So we are just simply asking for them to fulfill the things in the petition.
Perfect. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I actually have a bunch of questions, so I'm just gonna make them short. Because the last one, I'm gonna talk about the Kapa'akai framework analysis. But Auntie said she belongs to this group and she's asking for Ho'oponopono. And then you said you still want number 2, which is convening a representative North Shore Ko'olaloa group to renegotiate. You still want that, even though she said, let's talk first? I just wanna.
No. I answered yes. Like, I think we should talk. We should, like, all groups should talk. We should ho'oponopono. But I think there are larger questions in regards to a renegotiation of a unilateral agreement under a new SMA permit that I don't think it's fair to just assume that we would represent everything that the community wants and needs. I think that needs to be opened up to the community.
Okay. Okay, I want to talk about the Kapa'akai framework. I totally agree that we gotta follow the Kapa'akai framework analysis. It's very important. I want to disclose I was the first student at the UH Richardson School of Law to graduate with both an environmental law certificate and a Native Hawaiian law certificate. So mahalo for bringing up the Kapa'akai framework, but like, it sounds like you guys are inferring that it was not considered here. So I just want to like clarify here. The SCIS on Appendix D has the cultural impact assessment that Pacific Legacy Inc. did, and they identified cultural resources and practices within the project area with specific mitigation measures regarding potential impacts that may result. So is that not valid? You want more than that? It's like, I just want to know, because
She's a board member.
Aloha Lili Makaila, member of the board for Kupa'akui Lima. So the SEIS Supplemental Environmental Impact Statement does include what's called a cultural impact assessment. That's to comply with HRS Chapter 343. And so it does meet the threshold of compliance for HRS Chapter 343. However, Kapa'akai Framework Analysis lives under the Constitution, Article 12, Section 7. And in the supplemental EIS document, it does not meet the threshold of answering those 3 questions. There are 2 primary components to the preparation of Kapa'akai Framework Analysis. And I would like to mention I do this professionally for a state agency. There are 2 main components. One is what you would glean from a CIA, Cultural Impact Assessment, often referred to as a LRFI, Literature Review and Field Inspection. The second component is considered robust consultation with active Native participants and practitioners and the rights. So the consultation aspect is critical because that's how you determine the answer to question 1, which is what is the the corpus of Native rights and practices. What are those? Identifying them. The second one is what are potential impacts that this proposed project can cause. And the third is often placed on practitioners, those should live with both the determining agency, which is in this case, the county, DPP, and should also live with experts in the field. What are acceptable mitigation measures to ensure that those potential impacts found in the second component of the 3-part question adequately and appropriately protect all of those proposed or all of those practices identified in question 1. So under our review, it is not completed. There's also no Kapa'akai analysis document. Oftentimes, environmental impact statements will reference technical reports, correct? So they reference the CIA, they do not reference a Kapa'akai framework analysis. The law wants it.
So again, my question rises above again. So as kupunas, do we forget about our kupunas that have worked just as hard? And do we kuka to talk, to come to an agreement So when we come to the community, or when we come and we talk in front of everybody, we want to be united together and work things out together. And I think this is what is missing. We are not talking. We are not, maybe we should start having a kuka story time. We did that with our kupunas. In the generation now, I still feel that our kupunas are just overlooked, or they had their turn, or they're too old, but they have the wisdom. And we need to pass on this legacy that we need to work together. Ko'olauloa is known for that. When Hi'iaka came to bring Lohe out, to trying to get him to, she came here to Ko'olauloa and asked permission from the kupunas. Can you guys take care of this? Can I sleep? And she slept in between Kahuku and La'ie. And so, and the people gathered together as one, as Ko'olauloa. And so all I'm asking is that we sit down and we kuka. And, for me, it's embarrassing that one is on one side and we're on the other side. We all respect all of the hard work. We gotta think of our kupunas. We gotta think of the wisdom that they have too. And so that is just my request, is that before we even take the vote, whether we do away with Arita, or we do with what is presented before us, but we do it together. Let's sit down, let's kuka, and that's all I'm asking, is that we do it. We do it the way our ancestors taught us to do it. And I think that would be the best thing to do. I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
Could we ask the two groups to come to the next neighborhood board meeting with something that looks like a
You're asking
agreement?
me or you're asking her?
I'm asking, I guess, that is that something you would be open to?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Would you be comfortable with coming to the next neighborhood board meeting after working with this other group, the Kapuna group, with possibly a revised set of resolutions?
A revised set of asks?
He's wanting to see if after you guys kuka, can you guys come back? Can you put it off? Like give a revised list.
I mean, I'm definitely open to, we should talk. I mean, like, I honestly we just found out that that committee had been reconstituted, and to be fair, that committee hasn't reached out to us to communicate. But I think that there are 16,100 signatures on the petition, and it looks like a lot of people in this room who have come here to see if your board would be willing to support our petition this evening. We should definitely keep talking for sure, and we do want to honor our kupuna. And I think debate is healthy. We should have that. We should talk story, but I think we owe it to the people who are asking us to ask for this board support for our petition.
Can I?
Go ahead, Sunny.
This has been a long process. The community has been asking many, many questions, voicing many different concerns. As far as Kahuku Community Association, in our meetings that we've had, we did ask if this committee is still active. Are they still working? And we were told that they don't know. And so our belief was that it was not an active committee. And so I know there was discussion about, okay, so if that committee is no longer active, how can we ensure that all the voices, not only for Kahuku, but for the whole Ko'olauloa and the North Shore community, can be part of this conversation? And so I think that conversation with with Kupuna is very important. And I think equally have the new generation or the future generation to have a voice at the table. And I think those conversations could be carried out as we go instead of keep delaying what needs to be done. I think there are, or on both sides, you know, this is a very controversial topic that was discussed for many, many years. I think doing our due diligence and redoing those EIS and supplemental is a good thing. And at the end of the day, if it comes back, whatever that decision is, then we can be at peace with that decision. Because so far right now, we're based on, you know, outdated data. And so I think both ways we need to reach out because we have not heard at all, despite this long conversation that's been happening since last year. You know, nobody reached out to us about this, how this committee is active, and we're wanting to have discussion with you guys to make sure we move forward in a good Pono way. So just wanted to share my thought.
Yes, thank you. And I mean, like, I don't think we feel comfortable as Kupa Akwi Lima saying that we represent and we can make decisions on behalf of the larger community. I think that's why we're asking in our ask number 2 in our petition to constitute this larger group. And I think the same questions can be asked in regards to the Akwi Lima committee. Does this committee represent what the community wants, right? So I'm not comfortable with saying we represent what the community wants. And I don't think we should like pretend like we're gonna, I don't feel comfortable if it's like a negotiation or something. I think we need to really, really listen to the community and let the community decide how, you know, that's why we're putting this petition out and asking for a larger representative group to go through the process of hearing from the community, what the community wants.
One more question. So as a kupuna, I'm just asking that your committee we don't vote on what you're here for, and that if we can wait and have a meeting with the people and with the kupunas that have worked very hard on this, that we get together first. And I think it's because no one even tried to contact anybody to find out if this group still exists or don't they exist, and it's not your fault, but I think we as we decide to rather to you know, if you guys can, I'm just asking that we do that before we even take a vote on just to stop everything and do that. And if you're not comfortable with that, then blame it on the kupuna. Honestly, blame it on the kupuna, because we're asking, and this is very important. This is very important. And so I'm really asking, this is, you know, this is something that people forget, that this is, everybody talk about being Hawaiian. Okay, but thank you.
Sure. Just a couple thoughts. My final thought is, I am sensing like lawsuits potentially being filed. I used to work at the judiciary as a head of HR. My gosh, look how long it took just to get up to the Supreme Court and all of this. And mahalo for all the energy in that. And I know you guys are waiting. I know all those petitions, but I am all for kuka kuka. I am all for waiting, getting the mana'o and sitting down and talking about it. And if it's not through a ho'oponopono kuka kuka, then I'm gonna do a shameless plug for the Center for Alternative Dispute Resolution. I used to be a mediator at the Mediation Center. They do arbitration, mediation, and also settlement conferences. Before you shoot that gun on a lawsuit that's gonna cost a lot of money, a lot of time, and cause division. Kuka kuka ho'oponopono. I just wanna push that, please.
I think the pause would allow, so the petition is asking for a pause. I think that pause would allow that puka puka to happen, to allow time to make that conversation a viable option, because without it, the development is going to move forward without the community input at large. So in order for the puka puka to happen, we need some time. Otherwise, it's just going to happen. And I think there's a lot of legitimate questions that need to be answered and lots of studies that need to be updated, given the coastal erosion and the issues that we're facing here on the Ko'olauloa and North Shore. So I think a pause would be good to help us have that time.
Can I just say that sounds like a wonderful idea? I think definitely a larger community discussion needs to take place, and that's the reason for our petition, is to pause. And so as a board, you can see that there's a lot of community members that really care about this issue. And so please support this, ask for a pause so that these processes can work their way through. If, you know, instead of just wait, no process, no mediation, and then they're developing. Do you see, yeah? Like,
My question
Correct.
is, I think we have to recognize that Arete, I've been trying to think about this. I've really been trying to rack my brain. And I thought, now Arete purchased resort zone land and followed all the process. So my question is, in this pause, because I believe they voluntarily, the last time we met, they, someone mentioned they had already voluntarily paused. When you talk about a pause, it concerns me that it's so open-ended. So my question is, how long of a pause are we talking? That's my.
it's not an open-end pause. It's until the first three asks are fulfilled. So it's not open-ended.
So if I'm understanding,
Sorry, Dr. Tusi had his hand up, so we'll go to Dr. Tusi and then go to Sunny.
Thank you. I really appreciate the conversation, and I'm certainly impressed if this is the future generation, if they're analytical and their compassion and the concern. It's really, truly inspiring. However, I think we need to have a more profound sense of the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge, you can fix things quickly, but the emphasis is on fixing. Wisdom, the emphasis is on healing. So when we engage, the healing that we seek, it comes from our elders throughout all of Polynesia. Let me give you just a brief example of the difference between knowledge and wisdom. When canoes would go out fishing, and 2-3 miles offshore, and there's a squall that's coming and it's going to hit you within an hour, your conventional thinking would be paddle to the shore as quickly as possible, but you're still on the surface. The problem is you won't make it to the shore in an hour. You'll get thrown into the reef. Canoe will get smashed, and you most likely will be killed. If you stay on the surface, the tempest would blow you miles away, and then if you did manage to survive, you will not be able to see the island or landmarks, and chances are you would perish. Wisdom comes from centuries of voyaging. You swamp the canoe. Counterintuitive. You swap the canoe because they know the canoe wood has latex in it, and it will not sink below 2 inches. You sit in there, you swap the canoe, your head's above the water, and no matter how rough the waves, you will stay there. The other important thing is the canoe won't skate. It won't be blown away. So when the tempest moves away, you're able to look around. You can still see the island. You can bail the water out. You're back in the canoe. And if you are seasoned, you continue fishing. I was on one of those canoes and I almost had a heart attack. So That's the difference between wisdom and knowledge. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity which we can engage with the, every opportunity I would encourage. Engage the elders. Let them lead. Otherwise, when you have knowledge outrun wisdom, you may end up on the reef. Just that.
Thank you. Board members, I do have two last questions. First one, you alluded to the Ko'olalo Sustainable Community Plan. There was a lot of pushback against that. Is Turtle Bay in that plan?
Yes.
And did our city council person support that plan?
He wasn't Matt,
No, it's not Matt. It's probably Heidi.
right?
You happen to know if Heidi voted up or down on that?
I don't know off the top of my head if Heidi voted for that plan.
Got it. Okay. Also, great with the petition. This reminds me of the Stairway to Heaven. There was a big petition to say that a lot of people were chiming in, and a lot of the Kaneohe people were getting not angry because there were a lot of people outside bringing in their opinion on. For your petition, I'm assuming majority are from the Ko'olauloa area. Is that correct?
There are thousands, and I will be happy to print out the names and the zip codes of all of the thousands
So,
from
person
Ko'olauloa and
person
North Shore.
needs to
You
know
can look at it
a
and you can
percentage
look
of
at the
that.
comments too.
Okay, that's all I had. Any other questions from board members?
Yeah, so I'm wanting to know how long does doing a new environmental impact statement take? And how much does it cost and who is paying for it?
It's the responsibility of the Department of Planning and Permitting to be the determining agency on whether they accept the document. But it's the onus of the applicant. In this case, I believe it was or the predecessor to Arete Collective, but it's the onus of the applicant to prepare the environmental impact statement. And it depends. I mean, it depends on how much they're willing to prioritize. For instance, following the loss of water by Board of Water Supply due to the closure of Red Hill, they hired subcontractors to help put in other exploratory wells to make up for that huge loss to serve the Honolulu area. And I worked on an environmental assessment. The technical reports had been completed, but from start to finish, I was done in 20 days. So it just depends on the completion of those technical reports, and the authoring of the document just needs the source material, and then it's the skill of the consultant that they use.
Other questions from board members? All right, let's move on to the members of the public here in person. Okay, you can make a line if you like, your name, and you have 1 minute, please.
Aloha, my name is Heather Goodman. I am a resident here in Hau'ula. My 5-year-old daughter, Jade, tells everyone she knows that she wants to be a marine biologist. And I love her love for sea animals, but as a mom, it breaks my heart that one day she's going to learn that the adults in this world failed her. We failed to protect the places that make our world special, and now we are failing to protect the places that make Hawaii special if we allow this development at Turtle Bay. I've personally witnessed endangered monk seals and their babies on this coastline. I've also personally seen several albatrosses nesting in the trees, which are my daughter's favorite bird. And I plead with everyone here to protect what little natural coastline we have left. And I want to formally oppose the development at Turtle Bay and support the petition. And I pray that there will still be ocean animals left to study when my daughter grows up.
Thank you. Please refrain from clapping. Thank you. Go ahead.
Aloha mai kako. Ova o mahina ka onohi ka me he umi kumakahi o umakahiki. I love my home and my ohana and my community. My kupuna sent me here today to remind us all that it is our kuleana to protect our aina and each other. We must stand together against large developers who bring more harm than good. Our ohana are being divided and our community is being torn apart. This is not pono. It breaks my heart, my pu'uwai, to see this happen. I pray that as leaders of our community, you will listen to our voices and choose what is right. E ku ka, e ku ka, e ku e kako. A ole arete. Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, please proceed. Who's next? Oh, and then we'll go to you.
Aloha, my name is Allegra Lund. I live in Hau'ula. I am first, thank you so much for all the research that you've done. Sis is a teacher and does all of this research out of her own free time that she barely has. I want to formally support the petition and oppose the right now what's happening in the development of with the Rete. I, with my family, have gone out many times to Kahuku Point to see the albatross, the monk seals, and the sea turtles. We are so fortunate to be able to be in wild places here in Hawaii, but they are slowly drying up from development. I think there could be other options, but I think we have to have the time and the pause to find them. Mahalo, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. We'll go to Uncle over here. If you could pass the mic to him, please, and then we'll go to Wila over there right after.
Yeah, just to be clear about what's been going on, I want to ask you earlier about getting together with the developers. The developers has avoided the community all this time. Rita is supposed to be meeting with the North Shore Neighborhood Board, they didn't show up. Wailoa asked for them to come there, they didn't show up. Hoka asked them to come over twice, they didn't show up. So here, just to let you know, the Kupunas are totally being annoyed, not to mention that being avoided completely by the developer. And it's not our fault that they don't want to come together with us. It's just knowing that they themselves have been totally avoiding all of us because they want to force their development on us to get the union to let them tell them that they got to get jobs for them. But once those jobs are fulfilled out there, they're back on the unemployment.
Okay, Uncle, could you please wrap up?
One of the things that we need to really look at clearly about what's going on. So let's let everybody know clearly.
Thank you, Uncle. Please wrap up.
A meeting.
Uncle,
developers.
Please wrap up. Uncle.
We've been asking them all this stuff.
Uncle, please wrap up. We have other speakers that would like to speak. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Wila, please proceed.
Aloha, my name is Wila Fotuvendiola from Laie. I am a teacher, graduate of Kahuku, teacher and administrator now for 20 years, serving the youth of our area from Kualoa to Waimea and beyond. I agree with Kupa'akuilima's suggestion that we have meaningful community engagement. And what I support is what our kupuna are saying, and Tikela. And I don't know Dr. Tusi, but after tonight, I'd like to get to know him more and engage in meaningful community engagement. And I support their suggestion, which is basically to pause their request for a pause. We're essentially asking for the same thing, which is just take it slow so that we all can come together. So I support what Auntie Kela and Dr. Tusi are saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We'll go here and then we'll come over here. So please your name and then 1 minute.
My name is So Tufanga, and you know, I've been coming to these meetings a lot, and I've been hearing the same old thing. We pause, we do this. Come on, guys, lift that pause. Let's get this thing going. We gotta go. We talked about this many, many times. We talked to the government about it. We talked to everybody. Everybody has permitted it. Let me assure you, I worked there. I see those monk seals. I see what your presentation, you had 13 endangered species. You guys forgot one. human. Us. What about us? You care all about those birds and those monk seals. What about us? David talked about homeless. That's what we are going to get if we don't have jobs. I'm speaking on behalf of all the guys who cut grass over there every day, get rained on, get wet. We go over there and try to save the monk seals. Yes, I tell you, the Aute has bent over backwards.
Thank you, Uncle.
To have that beach reserved for those, and also to the, with the Alcatraz.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's only 1 minute.
That's 1 minute. Bro.
Oh, shit. But anyway, I'm for the development. Let's get it going.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, next. Please proceed. Name and we have 1 minute.
Aloha, my name is Elmar Lowe. I feel like the ocean heals many of us, and it has healed many of us and will continue to heal many of us. And I feel like if we can support Kupaku'ilima's petition for us to be able to give back to like the land and make sure that the development is like following the law per se, that we can give back to the ocean. And so I support Kupaku'ilima's petition to positive development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go here to this gentleman and then if you could just grab a microphone. Please proceed.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, everybody. My name is Andrew Pereira. I'm with Pacific Resource Partnership, and we stand in support of the project. As the previous speaker mentioned, a lot of our carpenters work in the area and we need jobs. We know that change is difficult, can be very hard. However, the change that's being proposed here is reasonable. It's fair. And if we delay further, then we might find ourselves eventually in a place where if we don't respect the property rights of our Arete Collective, then our property rights might be next in the bullseye. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Next, ma'am, just microphone. You can grab one of those. Thank you.
Hello, thank you everyone for being here. My name is Sunshine Ekstrom, and I wanted to support Kupaku'ilima's idea of pausing. It seems very reasonable to pause, because if we don't, development, like she said, could happen without community discussion. And ultimately, this idea that the developers are here at all for the community, that's not true. They are here to make money, and they'll pay lip service to conservation to greenwash their plans and emphasize local job creation to get community support. But what they really care about is their own bottom line. The long-term protection of crucial habitat for future generations, that's priceless. And I think these development plans are irresponsible, and most importantly, they're based on inaccurate, outdated environmental assessments. And I would just like to point out that the lack of transparency by the developers and the gag orders they've placed on environmental groups, union members, and local residents reveal who they really are. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who do we have next? Okay, gentleman in the purple here, and then, well, we'll go here first because you're there, then we'll go.
Aloha again. My name is Courtney Silva. I'm from Haula. Went to Haula Elementary School. Went to Kahuku. My wife went to Laia Elementary School, and we met in Kahuku about 45 years ago. We support the project because it brings, not only brings jobs, but a good union electrician, and I speak for about 300 union electricians, make somewhere between $100,000 to $150,000 a year. So, but that's over $1.5 million a year that we can afford to, my wife and I, to buy a house here in Haula. Yes, there'll be some development, things like that. You guys want to talk about the erosion of the roads? Guys, that's kind of like far-fetched, far gone. Back in the days, in the early 70s, we used to clean the river all along here from Cobb all the way down to Sunset, so the water could flow in the oceans and keep sand back where it belongs. That disappeared. We can talk about environment, things like that, but the construction is not going to ruin the roads already. It's already getting deteriorated. Okay, so you know we cannot pause because I have a mortgage to pay. A lot of people around here have mortgage to pay. Unfortunately, we know we have to buy our house at a higher price than we
Thank you, Uncle. Could you please?
Okay, thank you.
Wrap up.
And I'm Curtis Silva, and so in support of the project.
Thank you. Okay, gentleman in the purple here, and then we'll go.
Good evening, Travis Murakami from the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters. Like the brother said, what about the people? You know, this development is going to create over 1,000 construction jobs and maybe another 500 full-time maintenance, you know, customer service.
that kind of job. So think about the people. So we are in support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, gentleman here, and then anyone else, please, in person.
Again, David Stan.
Here.
I am support of this project from Arete. And the reason being for that is after reading the SCP of the Ko'olauloa, after reading the UA and doing a lot of conversation with them, the owners, they are willing to do a lot to meet the UA. For example, a good example, we have a lot on the North Shore right now. Everybody's screaming out for Ocean Safety Hub. Spoke with the mayor about that. Arete is willing to give up land to go ahead and have that hub there on their property. So they're not only talking about it, they're willing to give back a lot of things back to the community. Will they make money? Yes, they will. But the reason for them to help us in the community, and like the gentleman before me just said, they're going to create 1,000 jobs while they're doing construction. 500 will be here, and they'll give competitive wage jobs here. So it'll help our community with 500 consistent jobs throughout the year that try and help
Okay,
us.
thank you. Yep, okay, next, gentleman over here. Oh, sorry, yeah, what, sorry, gentleman in the black and then. Whoa.
Back up, okay. Hello, testing. Michael Patrick Tejada, senior, is a junior. So, De La Cruz, is your dad Elpidio? What's your grandpa's name? Yeah, Elpidio's dad.
Sorry, can you just,
Yeah, just telling you guys, your parents, your grandparents all went work at Turtle Bay, Koilima back in the day. Okay? I've been here 75 years. Parents, Kahuku born. I'm third generation, like I said. Think gonna create jobs for your kids, for your kids, for your kids, for all of your kids. So I'm in for this project. Dated back from Koilima days, right? My parents, tell me over here, I never worked over there. Koilima. None of you work at Koilima?
okay, thank you, Uncle.
Welcome.
Okay, next. Please, yep, sir, go right ahead, you have 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Elsie Morris, and I support this project. And one of the reasons is these guys had, I guess in the way it was laid out, they could build 3,000 units, and they're choosing to build 725, I believe it is. Less than a third of the land that they could have built on. And some's going to get built there sooner or later, and these guys seem like the most accommodating to us here that live on this island.
Can I just clarify that they did not choose to lower their number of units? There was litigation to make that lowering number happen. So they did not do it voluntarily.
Thank you. Moving on. Comments, questions? Please proceed.
Chair, members of the board, Mark Anthony Clemente, Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters. I'm also Native Hawaiian. I care deeply about this Aina. I had one of those green shirts back in the day too. But like others have spoken about too, caring about the Aina is really important, but I really do care about Kama Aina. Like was mentioned, more than 50% of Native Hawaiians live on the continent. And these are really good paying jobs. The construction industry has been holding up Hawaii's economy for a while. And so, until we can replace these things, let's go ahead and proceed with a very reasonable project that we support. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing, sorry.
Yeah,
I think it is the most pono thing to delay the vote on this request until both groups can kuka.
Yeah, okay, next, any other members here? Please proceed, you have 1 minute.
My name's Trenton McCullough. I'm a teacher at Kahuku High School and a resident here. I just want to voice my support for Koilima in pausing the development. And I think, like this board member was talking, it makes sense to go through the proper channels that, like we had talked about, and take a pause. And I support Koilima. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members here in person? We'll go with Ben and then,
We know this is the right time. Aloha, Ben Schaefer from Kahana. I want to thank you folks did a wonderful job in the presentation. I was asked about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, to go and visit them. And I saw the sites and, I was really impressed with what they had, what the preservation, what they were doing. I took the thing home and I was looking at the map and stuff. They're using 7% of the land. That's all they have, 7%. The rest is mostly conservation, a little bit to the county, and TBO, I guess the other one. Yeah, they get the bigger one. But anyway, I support the development. Mahalo.
thank
Oh,
you.
another thing is that union jobs created the middle class. We want to continue that middle class. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any, ma'am, in the back, I believe you wanted to come up. Oh, sure, go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm a resident here. I just want to voice my support for the petition. If Arete is so willing to take into consideration the environment, they should have no problem pausing for a short time, meeting the demands to make sure that those changes are verified and that we're just doing the right thing according to the proper channels and verifying it to the current date and the current research. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public? Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Melissa Promasio. I'm 9th generation that's lived in Kahuku. And I have been a part of the Koilima North Shore Strategy Planning Committee for over a decade. And we were never disbanded. We were just on pause for more than a decade because the owner didn't want to develop at the moment. So we weren't meeting with Replay anymore. So we are currently here again because development is on their way. I'm in support of it because since 1980s, when I was born, my grandfather fought so that I could live here in this community. And I'm still here. And I will continue to fight so that we will have affordable housing. And if we have to have a development to get it, then let's do it. But everybody dreams of their wedding. You're waiting for that one day. I'm waiting for that one day. What the stuff we was promised, affordable housing, is built and I can live here forever. I'm in support of the project.
Okay, next, members in person. Not, we're going, okay, sir, in the back, please come forward.
Hi, my name is Shane Sahaki. I'm in support of the pause purely so that these two groups can meet together and talk like they were discussing. I feel like the only way you two could meet and have a meaningful conversation is without the opportunity for development to occur. I feel like if there is going to be a conversation, it has to happen without any development happening so you can make the best decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other members of the public in person that would like to ask a question or make comments? Ma'am, please come forward. If you can grab a mic, state your name.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to find out how long your pause would be.
That's a question.
Yeah, so the pause would be until they have fulfilled all of the first 3 asks in the petition.
And if the pause doesn't happen and you guys kuka, and then what happens? Because forgive me, I just came tonight to listen. And I moved here. I'm an outsider. But as an outsider, I feel for Auntie. And I feel for you. And I get it. But I want to find out, because all the uncles want work to be done. How long is it the pause going to be? And I want to find out how much longer will it be until it actually happens? That's all I'm asking.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we can answer that question because it depends on how long the SCIS and the SMA and the renegotiation of the unilateral agreement would take.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the, Uncle, you, hang on, we're still on round one. We're still on round one. And I have to go to the online people too. They deserve a say. So they're still on. Is there any other members of the public who had a question or comment, please? Okay, we'll go here and then.
Aloha, my name is Chris Herr, Haula resident, neighbors to some people here. I came with strong opposition to the project, and I've heard a lot of reasonable discussion here. I still do support a pause. I think that the two groups need to consult with Kupuna, and I think that it sounds like they're going off of some old data with the study, some new species in the area. I think it's reasonable to pause and get better information. So I support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Go right ahead. Welcome back, our old board member.
Aloha nui. Missed you guys. My name's Lily Makaila. I just wanted to share two mana'o. One, I do want to make it clear that this is not affordable housing, yeah? This is luxury resort development that would be sold at 6 to 8 million. So I think the job conversation is a good conversation, but affordable housing, I don't think that should be a part of this conversation. It does live in the unilateral agreement, but it's not a part of what Arete has presented. So I think that's something that we should be really honest about. I also think that another thing to be mindful of is we all have to jump through hoops, yeah, with the county and with the state to build our homes, to sell our homes, to do all kinds of things. And how come developers don't have to follow those same rules? I think everybody should follow the rules. That's all we're asking for.
Thank you. Do we have any other member of the public in person? Let's come down. Your name and 1 minute.
Junior Padastal with the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters. I'd like to talk about how Arete hasn't shown up to, these community meetings due to death threats and how many supporters would have come tonight. We're afraid due to their safety. I wanted to talk about how I support this project and how it would create more jobs, because if we keep pausing these projects, eventually our cake is going to move out and we'll be left with nothing. Again, I support this project.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public here in person? Uncle, okay. Any other that hasn't spoken yet?
I just want to address that comment. You
Sure.
keep talking about keeping our local people here, and I completely agree. Our local people should be able to stay here and afford to live here. And I don't see anything besides the temporary jobs that would, they're temporary construction jobs that would help people temporarily to pay their current bills. Those 500 potential long-term jobs are service industry jobs, which if everybody is paying attention to how many people are leaving, it's because we have a service industry and that pay is not adequate enough to even afford what they deem affordable housing. So how is bringing in 100 luxury condos and more tourists with low-paying jobs going to help keep our people here?
Okay. Thank you. So we have to get to online. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a hard stop at 9:30. That's another reason why we do the 1 minute. We try to expedite. So what I'm going to recommend to the board, hang on, I'll go real quick, is that we have to defer this the next board meeting. We'll continue with public comments. And then we'll continue public comments and we'll just go through the process again. Most likely, we're going to have to only do one thing. I mean, the board amenable to that. Hang on, I'll go real quick. So we got 10 minutes, well, less than 10 minutes. And we have to, because of the time limit, we'd have to defer this and everything else on the agenda, except for the public comments and the minutes, because we got to do that before we adjourn. And then we will pick this back up. It's up to the board. The board has to make the motion. Hang on, sir. Or we can. So,
Maybe
yeah,
here's some online comments
so
first.
We have comments. The online people do have comments that they have not had their say, unfortunately, because of the time. So, I mean, at the end of the day, public comment is a, portion of the board. The board has the right to close public comments, but I don't think you want to do that with the number of people that are here online. So the fair thing to do would be to defer. Okay, Lorraine makes the motion. Defer the rest of the agenda to the next meeting, except for public comments, because we got to do that. Okay, we have motion and second. Do I have any opposition? Okay, chair votes aye, so we will defer everything to the next meeting, which is in March. We'll continue on with the Turtle Bay discussion for public comment, which is in person, and we'll get to the online as well.
I have a question,
Yes,
Connie. I just wanted to know if the group are willing to meet even when we,
I think, Auntie, you got to talk with them after, okay? Thank you. Thank you for the announcement. Board member Ep.
Can I just ask that we also treat the next meeting as a continuation of this one, not a
That's-
repeat?
Right.
In other words, we don't want to end up in the same situation where everyone is standing up and giving the exact same testimony. We want to hear new voices and complete the discussion so that we can make a consideration of the petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, board members. There was no, so with that, we have a motion and a second. There was no opposition, so we will go directly to public input, community announcements. We have 5 minutes. Hearing and seeing none. Sir, do you have a community announcement? An announcement for the community? Well, sorry? No, just in general to the community. Okay. No, do you have an announcement that you want to make to the community about something? You have 2 minutes. There is no back and forth. Okay.
Once again, the homes that they're building at Turtle Bay is not going to be affordable, especially if it's going to be $4 million. You need to understand that clearly. The owners, even the future generation, won't be able to afford them. So we got to be really honest about what's going on, everybody. Really honest about what's really going on here. And then people are making $100,000 to $150,000 to buy a home. Maybe the electricians are, but not all electricians are like that. So we need to really look at things honestly about what's going on, and not what the semantic that everybody's putting out here about what's happening. So we need to really look at it clearly.
Thank you, Uncle. Any other community announcements, real quick? Clock is ticking.
Real quick, I will be having out the 16 Menahunis online for a petition. We're trying to get over 150,000 petition people to sign that to bring back the film or help and support the film industry over 3,000. Please.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for you guys' time in the Kololo community and letting us be here. It's my first time here. I probably was one of the ones that signed the petition in 2006. And of course, you know, I'm opposite of that right now. But thank you for you guys' time and hopefully see you guys again.
Appreciate it. Any other comments for the public? Sure, go right ahead.
Come to Kuku High School Saturday. We're having a Red Raider bash. All of our keikis, all of the clubs will be fundraising for their clubs. So please come and support. 6 to 9, Kuku High School.
Okay, thank you. We have hands up online. Is there any public comments from members of the community online? We got 3 minutes.
I have a comment about the petition, or you're saying public announcements?
This is public announcements.
Yeah.
Any members of the community online for public announcements? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll move forward on our agenda. Approval of the minutes. This is the approval for the Thursday, January 9th minute. Board members, do I have a motion to approve? Okay. Second, any reservations? Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes. The board minutes are approved for the Thursday, January 9th meeting. Board announcements, the next meeting is Thursday, February 13th, 2025, 6:30 here. We are adjourned. Thank you. March, my bad, March, that's wrong.